Hi guys, welcome back to Chris Cowlin's channel. It's the big one, Arsenal versus Tottenham Hotspur, the North London derby. Tottenham have only won once at the Emirates Stadium in the Premier League ever. There was, of course, one League Cup victory as well. But with all the odds against us and a team and squad ravaged by injury, is this a bit of a no-lose gamble? Is it a bit of a free hit? We're playing against a side who are starting to struggle a little bit. They've had a couple of bad results, lost against Manchester United in the FA Cup, lost at home in the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final 2-0 to Newcastle. Can Tottenham take advantage of what may well be a bit of a restless crowd? We are live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. Please do get involved in the comments, guys. All of your comments come to me, and I will be going through them throughout the match and at halftime, and of course at full time. If you haven't already, and you've stumbled across this watch along, please do give Chris Cowlin's channel a subscribe. It's at Chris Cowlin. Do give this video a like as well. Let's get this seen by as many Tottenham Hotspur fans as possible. And I dare say there is a small possibility of some Arsenal fans trying to get in here and comment as well. Let's see them out. See them out of the comments if that happens. Also, as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, I have my own YouTube channel, at Barnaby Slater _, where I bring you during January daily Premier League transfer videos and then always Tottenham Hotspur content as well. Chris Cowlin himself is at the game tonight, so please do look out for video updates on the channel throughout the evening. He'll post the post-match press conferences as well, so keep an eye out on all the videos that he'll be posting on his channel. And this is the itinerary of how tonight's watch-along is going to go. I'll do the watch-along in the first half, of course. I'll bring you the team news in a minute before then. And then at halftime, I'll be doing a little run through of what happened in that first half, and then a Q&A from all of you guys, what you say in the comments, starting the conversation, getting that engagement, get it up, and let's talk to each other. And then I'll do the second half, and then straight after the game, I will do a post-match reaction video, followed by the fan show. And in the fan show, 10 or 11 or so fans, Tottenham fans from around the world, will be calling in, and I'll be speaking to them and asking them their thoughts on what will hopefully be only Tottenham's second league victory at the Emirates ever. That's what I'm hoping for. Certainly with 7 minutes to go till kickoff, I'm going to try and remain positive. I do think there is an opportunity for Spurs here tonight. Of course, we're underdogs, massive underdogs with the amount of injuries we've got, but I think they have some key injuries too, namely Bukayo Saka. I'll talk more about that in a minute. So I do think there is a chance for us tonight, but we have to stay in the game. That's my feeling on it. Let me know what you think in the comments, but for me, the key is don't concede early, stay in the game. And even if we do concede the first goal, just make sure you don't concede a second. Stay in the game, make it restless at the Emirates. We all know that the Arsenal fans are currently in a bit of a mini crisis. Some of them are Arteta out. They think they're not going to be able to take the final step. They thought it was going to be them against Man City, but it's not. Man City are out of the picture, and Arsenal should be sweeping it up right now, and they're not. And the fans are going full old school Arsenal fan TV mode at the moment, and Tottenham have to be there to try and take advantage tonight at the Emirates. Make it difficult for them. We know that Ange Postecoglou has made his career on being a motivator and being a perfect motivator for big derbies, big games. He's dealt with the Celtic Rangers Old Firm derby. Now we need him to have his big statement result in the North London derby. We're all desperate for it to happen, but can it? Here is the team news from tonight. No real surprises in terms of what I discussed on my videos this week as to what I thought the Spurs team would be, but it's Kinski in goal, of course. And then Porro and Spence at fullbacks, Dragushin and Gray at centre-half. Then the midfield, he's gone for a kind of muscular, energetic midfield with Basuma, Pape Matar and Lucas Bergvall. Then the forward line, Kulusevski on the right, Sonny on the left, and Solanke in the 9. On the bench, Austin, Reguilon, Richarlison, Maddison, Johnson, Lancashire, Mikey Moore, Olasisi and Hardy. And even though we've got two academy players there in Olasisi and Hardy who've never played a minute and probably won't, I do think that that bench is the strongest it has been in a long time. The options that we can bring on of Richarlison, Maddison, Johnson and Mikey Moore are far superior to anything we've had in terms of possibilities from the bench in recent times. Obviously, Reguilon is another possibility of someone who could come on. I mean, for me at this point, I'm just absolutely desperate, not only for us to put in a performance, but to not get any more injuries, certainly not any key injuries. There basically hasn't been a game recently where we haven't, not a big game, not a Premier League game anyway, where we haven't had a big injury issue. I'll bring you the Arsenal team now. Raya, Timber, Lewis Skelly, Saliba, Gabriel, and then in midfield, Ødegaard, Rice, and Partey. That is a strong midfield. And then up front, Trossard, Havertz, and Raheem Sterling comes in. Their bench, Tierney, Martinelli, Kiwior, Zinchenko, Jorginho, Marino, Neto, Butler, Oyedeji, and Kabia. So, in terms of talking points from that team news and from the game as a whole, as I see, the players are in the tunnel. Spurs are in their light blue away shirts. James Maddison not starting. Like I said, Big Ange has gone for a kind of sturdier, energetic midfield. How do you feel about that at home? Is it the midfield you wanted? Did you want Kulusevski to play more centrally and maybe Brennan Johnson to start? For me, I said in my videos this week, I think this is the midfield to pick because of energy, because of legs. It's got creativity in it as well. I think Bergvall is a creator. But also key is I think Johnson is a really good option to bring off the bench later in the game if we're chasing it or when there are holes in behind the fullbacks because maybe Arsenal are chasing it in a dream world. Another massive important part of tonight's game, if we're going to get anything from it, the importance of our new keeper, Tony Kinski, against the Arsenal set piece, as well as the importance that the defenders protecting him are doing their jobs. We've conceded far too many set pieces against Arsenal down the years. In fact, we've conceded so many frustrating goals against them, especially at the Emirates. But I remember so many set piece goals, own goals from set pieces. I think Højbjerg had one last year or the season before. Also, Thomas Partey, as far as I can remember, scoring the only kind of top corner goal he's ever scored against them. Listen, we just don't have a good record at Arsenal, certainly away from home. Even when they were terrible, we couldn't really win there under Pochettino. In fact, we didn't, apart from in the League Cup. So it's time for things to turn. I'd love it to turn tonight. I'd love it to turn almost when it's least expected to turn because of the amount of injuries that we have got. Obviously, I mentioned no Bukayo Saka. He has been a big thorn in our side over recent seasons, and that has to be a good thing for us. It has to be. I'm not saying that Trossard and Sterling are not good players. They are. And of course, Arsenal fans are not ecstatic with either of them or Havertz. In fact, the entire front line at the moment, they don't massively rate them. But in a weird way, that makes me fear the kind of script of them having one of them having their best game for the club. And I do rate Trossard. I think he's a good player. Like I said, we've got to stay in the game, make the crowd restless. And then when we get chances, if and when we get chances, we have to be clinical. And it's time for Sonny to step up again. His form has not been brilliant recently. We need a captain's performance. We need, if he gets chances to cut in off the left onto that right side, we need him to do what he's done so many times before against Arsenal and hit it into that top corner. We really, really need you tonight, Son Heung-min. You've signed that extra year at Spurs, and now it's time to kind of break this terrible run we've had at Arsenal, to break the bad form that we've had in the Premier League over recent weeks while we've had this injury crisis, and make this last two games where we've won against Liverpool and where we've just about turned over Tamworth, make it the start of some momentum. That's what we need, guys. We're just about nearly ready to kick off now. I'm going to get into the comments. Coke Can, thanks for writing in, says, my neighbour knocked on my door earlier and told me that Ledley, Ardiles and Roberts are doing a chat with legends at my local theatre in Essex. It was a sign. So we're going to win. Kevin McGurk, thank you for writing in, mate. Says, Madders coming on to unlock key passes later in the game. Yeah, I'd be up for that. Let's see, what else have we got? Kevin McGurk again, Sonny Puskas winning goal tonight. Yes, please. Peter, come on, you Spurs. Andy Marco, come on Tottenham, let's do them. I'm not going to say the words that you said. Anthony Foafan says, good luck Spurs. Guys, please do get into the comments and I will be keeping an eye on them throughout the game. I know the game is on TNT, so a lot of you I'm sure will be concentrating on that, but if you fancy double screening and just making sure you're set up via the pause button on your screen so that you're coinciding with my commentary of the game, I'd really appreciate it. And once again, make sure you give this video a like. Let's get as many likes as we can, guys, so this can be seen by as many Tottenham fans from around the world as possible. And also, do give me a subscribe. If you're not a subscriber to my daily channel, please do. It's there in the bottom left-hand corner, at Barnaby Slater _ on YouTube. And I'm getting closer to 15,000 subscribers. It would be an amazing milestone for me. So please do give me a little subscribe if you haven't already. And the game is just about to kick off, and I'm sure Arsenal are about to play their embarrassing North London Forever song. And the game has kicked off. And it goes straight back to Radu Dragusin, who plays the big, long diag up towards Sarr and Son. Sarr is beaten in the air there. But Basuma gets hold of the ball. And I was impressed by Basuma against Tamworth. He was a cut above everyone. Goes back to Spence. To Archie Gray. And they're putting the press on Radu Dragusin. So he's going to go back to Kinski. It's Havertz pressing him. And Kinski uses his feet to get away from him. And then plays a long diag towards Son. But it's cut out. And Sterling is pushed over there by Spence. And that is not the ideal, I'm sorry, but not the ideal free kick to give away. I'm about 20 seconds, guys, about 20 seconds delayed from the actual time. So this is what I would describe as a slightly naive set piece to give away against Set Piece FC. It's on the right-hand side, and Declan Rice is going to whip one into the box. Spurs keeping their defensive line on the 18-yard box. This is it's out wide right, but it's probably about 30 yards out. Kinski has an aggressive starting position, and he's really screaming at his defenders. But we know how dangerous Arsenal are from set pieces, which is why I'm not sure this is the right. I'm not sure. I think Spence could have been a bit easier on his tackle there, on his push. Anyway, here comes Rice. Ødegaard is in a bit of space inside him. But here it comes. It's a good ball. It comes all the way. And Spurs managed to get away. But then Kulusevski tries to put his foot on the ball in the box and got away with it a little bit. But Arsenal recycle it. Ali McCoist is on co-commentary saying what a beautiful delivery that was. Arsenal now with the ball on the halfway line. Solanke, of course, puts the press on. Sonny coming out towards Rice. And Porro's wrong side, but Bergvall's won it high up, and he's so brilliant at that, Lucas Bergvall. And then he's kind of pushed off the ball, but he stays strong, and that's a free kick to Spurs. That's one thing that Lucas Bergvall has not been given enough credit for. He really reads the game beautifully. And they are pressing Dragusin very high, as a lot of clubs have recently, and therefore they've won it up. They've won it high up the pitch. Dragusin's chasing back. They're in here, Arsenal, with Sterling. And the keeper's come out. And I'll tell you what, the keeper put Sterling under enough pressure there, and he wasn't able to finish it. Wow, huge chance. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to give credit to Kinski there, because Kinski dived at his feet, and Sterling tries to take it round him, but can't keep control of it, and Spurs defenders able to get in the way, and Arsenal just doing well with the crowd behind them. And now Arsenal on the right. It's all Arsenal at the moment. They're just really playing off the loudness of the crowd. Ødegaard just outside the box, laying it into Partey. Spurs, all their men behind the ball now as Arsenal switch it across to their left-hand side. Porro facing up Rice. Yeah, it's a good atmosphere at the Emirates at the moment. Trossard on the left-hand side. Fronted up by Porro and Kulusevski, but he's got another man with him. And they come inside with Rice into Ødegaard, flicks it round the corner, and they're at the byline here. It's cut back, and that's going to be a corner to Arsenal. This is a good start for Arsenal. You would expect nothing less. So, first corner for Set Piece FC. And they take so long over these corners, don't they? They really not waste time, but they take their time so all the players can get in position. And you'd like to think Spurs have been working on this. So they've got the three men Arsenal right at the back stick. They've got two men marking them in Spence, and I think it's Sarr. And then those men at the very back post, further from the 6-yard box, make late runs. And here it comes, right on top of the keeper. And it's gone all the way out. And Kinski looked pretty confident with that, I have to say. I mentioned it before the game. And Kinski goes long with this first kick of the game up to Son. Oh, and Son gets it at his feet. Beautiful stuff. And then he's fouled from behind Son. Oh, and it's not given. I cannot believe that. Tackles and fouls from behind allowed now, apparently. Arsenal now playing it through midfield. That was frustrating. Arsenal now down the left. Yeah, they have started sharply, that's for sure, the Trossard. But Kulusevski takes it off him well. And he's looking for an option. Sarr helps him, gives it to Porro. And then Porro plays it down the line. Kulusevski going for it down the line, but he's not a pacey player and therefore couldn't get it. And it's easily cut out by Gabriel. And then Bergvall does well to put the pressure on Partey and Spurs win the ball back. Good stuff from Bergvall. Good start from the kid. Dragusin to Gray. And Gray goes across to Spence, who turns away from Sterling. And that's better. That works because Arsenal were putting the first press on Spurs. And now Spence trying to drive at Sterling, seeing if he's going to go with him down the line. Comes back to Archie Gray, who goes to Kinski. And Kinski just putting his foot on the ball. Gives it to Jed Spence, who's in a bit of a dangerous position, surrounded by two men there. Archie Gray and Jed Spence kind of getting the Arsenal fans around them up for this. Yeah, and give it to Basuma in a very difficult position. It goes off for a throw-in. Six minutes gone. And Arsenal start again by going back to the halfway line with Gabriel Solanke working on him. And it goes back all the way to Raya, who's got a good high starting position as well. And he plays a long ball towards Timber, but it goes out of play. And the Arsenal fans now singing their North London Forever song, which is embarrassing because do they not even understand what forever means? Oh no, they're actually doing the Allay, 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 which is of course a European song. It's a bit weird. Spence now gives it into Basuma. Tottenham, Sonny again trying to turn, and that's the second time Son hasn't been given a foul by the ref. And Arsenal now driving at the penalty box. They're in the box now, and good defending at the near post from Gray turns it out for another corner. Archie Gray, good defending. So here comes the second corner of the day, and Ødegaard now taking his time to take it from the other side. Kinski talking to his defenders, telling each of them where he wants them and how he wants it. And Spurs are leaving two up top, but so Arsenal have had to leave Rice and one other back with them, but one of them is Kulusevski. He's not the quickest. Anyway, Arsenal go short with it, and Spurs have only put one defender out to find it, which is a surprise. Anyway, it's Trossard, and it's blocked. And that's good defending from Spurs because it goes out for a throw. Well done, Porro. Timber with the throw-in. 8 minutes gone. Arsenal really working on Spurs. And Son out-muscled again for the third time in this game already. Bergvall working hard and gives away a foul again, just like Spence, probably a bit naive. It's another opportunity for Arsenal to lug the ball into the box. Bergvall doesn't think it's a foul. And of course, as ever, whenever a set piece comes for Arsenal, their set piece coach comes out to hang out with Arteta. Spoken about it a little bit in my videos. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that adds a layer of like pressure on the opposition that the set piece coach comes out front and center? Anyway, Ødegaard's going to whip this one in. This one is a bit closer than the one that Spence gave away. It's almost level with the 18-yard box, so Spurs have a deeper line. Here comes the in-swinger straight towards Kinski. He punches, and that should be a goal kick, but it's given as a corner. He did well. It was a good delivery. Kinski punched well, and it hits his own man and goes off for a corner. He's got a good starting position, Kinski. Arsenal had men offside there, and that's where it's ridiculous to me, this offside rule, because this shouldn't be a corner. It should be a free kick for Spurs for an offside, but the lino didn't give it, so they can see if a goal is going to be scored, and as a result, Tottenham are penalised for it. Really frustrating, that rule. Third corner already for Arsenal. Ødegaard's going to swing this one in again. Kinski again communicating with his defenders. Here comes the in-swinger. It's a deep one. Back post. They've got loads of men up there. And they win the first one. They've still got the ball, Arsenal. And that's going to be another corner. Blocked well. Oh, and that's another thing I find embarrassing. Gabriel giving it the big, oh, come on to the fans. Mate, what you do on the pitch is what's supposed to get the fans up, not you're throwing your arms about. Really find that embarrassing when players do it, not just because it's an Arsenal player. All Premier League players who do it, I just think, no, it's your job with your skill and your ability on the pitch to get the crowd working hard. Not working hard, get the crowd up for it, sorry. So this is going to be another corner for Declan Rice, the 4th corner so far for Arsenal. 10 minutes gone. Again, this time they've got 4 behind the back of the 6-yard box, going to make late runs. Then they've got 1 around the keeper who's being marked by Archie Gray at the moment. They did win that first header from the last one deep. Here we go. The in-swinger. Keeper does well, punches at the near post. Comes out to Ødegaard. Back out wide to Rice. Spurs need to get out of their box here. Arsenal still have men. Good tackle there from Kulusevski, but it comes to Rice. And Ødegaard's gone down, but he's getting himself up when he didn't get a foul. Good stuff from Kinski. That was. Oh, and Solanke tries the press on Saliba, as does Kulusevski, but they get around it well. With 11 minutes gone now, the atmosphere's just dropped a tiny, tiny bit. Spurs do well down the midfield there, and then Sarr, unfortunately, that's a foul. Sarr does well, wins a foul there, but he could have given it to Kulusevski there, I thought, Sarr, and we might have had a little break on. But anyway, yeah, the atmosphere is dampened slightly. Spurs have done well in the first 11, 12 minutes here. Porro is going to be on this free kick. It's just on the right hand, kind of near the right hand touchline. And he goes for a dink over the top towards Solanke. Tottenham trying to pick up the second ball with Kulusevski, and unfortunately it's tipped away from him now, and Sterling running at Spurs. And Spurs have conceded goals to Arsenal like this from having too many men up pitch. And Bergvall is working hard to get back, so is Son, but they've got to work a bit harder here as Arsenal get towards the box. Solanke putting in a little bit of effort as well, and he makes Partey turn away back to Saliba. And Saliba goes out wide right, and Arsenal have men over this side. Timber to Ødegaard, who is their main man. He dinks it to the back post, and they've got a man at the back post here, Arsenal. Chance for Arsenal. Deflected and blocked, and then it comes out to Partey, and it's blocked again. That was a huge chance for Arsenal, but well blocked by Spurs. Another cross comes in. Comes all the way to the right. Oh, and a good back heel, and they're in here, Arsenal, on the right-hand side. Dinks it across, and Dragishin gets the first header on it, but it comes straight to Ødegaard, who tries a volley. Spurs clear it. Tottenham cannot get out at the moment. But Saliba miskicked, and Basuma can't quite get hold of it. And Porro, and they've played a big diagonal over to the left-hand side now. And Kulusevski's got to get over there to help his man. It's one-on-one against Porro. And the cross comes in, and Dragishin clears it at the near post. That's going to be a throw-in. Commentator talking about how Spurs are under siege at the moment. Rice plays it across to Ødegaard. To Sterling on the right. He's got Timber outside him. He finds Timber. Ødegaard. Back to Timber, who tries the cross. Oh, and it's a good ball, but Kinski comes to get it. Well done, Tony. Arsenal's press is what's causing Spurs to struggle to get out. As Kinski gives it to Sarr, and he gets it back, and he has to go long straight away. And Solanke can't make it stick, so Arsenal get it back on the halfway line. Yeah, so Kinski was confident to... Oh, and they're in down the right here, Arsenal. And Porro clears it. They cut it back. Spence now can get his foot on the ball. So basically what's happening, as far as I'm concerned, is Arsenal's press is not allowing Spurs to keep the ball at all. They've got 4 men, often 5 men sometimes, pressing Tottenham's back 4, not allowing us to get out. Spence now back to Gray. Bergvall comes short for it. Takes it on the half turn and beats Ødegaard. And that's brilliant from Bergvall. showed a bit of... Oh, and then he takes a heavy touch and he will get booked for that. But it's a play on and Arsenal are in down the right. That might save Bergvall a booking. And then Bissouma fouls Sterling, I think it is. On the extra inch this week, Bardi talked about Bergvall being a walking yellow card, and that's kind of the case. But he could have got booked there. He did brilliantly, and he really took control of the ball, which Spurs haven't had a midfielder do yet. But then his last touch was too heavy, and he slid on Partey. And I think later in the game, that would definitely have been a booking. And another dangerous free kick for Arsenal. This one is in the inside right channel. I'd say about 30 yards out. 15 minutes gone. Arsenal knocking at the door. Spurs keeping their line here on about the 17 yards. About 17 yards out. Kinski again talking to his players. Ødegaard is going to dink this in swing towards the back post where Gabriel, Havertz and one other are. He's just dinked it. And the keeper is really strong. Brilliant from Kinski. Brilliant from Kinski. And he was fouled and it was offside. I love that from Kinski. Kinski just taking his time with this free kick. He gives it to Dragishin. He really trusts his players because he's given balls to Dragishin and Sarr already, where I'm not sure if technically they're the right ones to give. And then he's just, do you know what? He just kicked it. And this is what I've talked about with Kinski. He will make mistakes. He will make mistakes because of his confidence. And he just went for a left-footed kick there and he was pressed by Havertz and it nearly ended up in a goal. He actually did really well to dive at Havertz's feet. Saves himself, but Spurs have lost the ball already because he's had to kick it long because he's pressed so hard. Arsenal all over Spurs at the moment. Their high press is killing us when we've got the ball in the back line, which not a huge surprise. They're in on the right again behind Spence here. And that's going to be another corner. Not a huge surprise when you think about the players that Spurs have got out in their back four. But at the moment, Tottenham standing strong. And like I said, I was just saying about Kinski, there will be mistakes because of the confidence of which he plays the ball and keeps the ball at his feet. But it's the best way. We've already seen how assertive he is coming out. And this is what we need in terms of our modern distributor keeper. He was just a bit slow and he got away with it because then he was brave and dived at Havertz's feet after he was pressed. It was actually very similar to what happened with Alisson getting pressed by Bergvall in the Liverpool Spurs game the other day. 18 minutes gone now. Spurs just cannot get out of their own half. We need better from Sonny when it comes to his feet. And we need Solanke to hold it up more. Here comes Ødegaard's in-swinger. And keeper coming for it again. He gets a punch on it again. Well done, the keeps. I love how assertive he is from that. And Solanke did well there. And Spurs have won it through Deki, who tries the big swing over the top of Declan Rice. And Sonny doesn't quite have the legs to beat Rice, who turns away from him well. But that was great from Kinski. Oh, and Spurs have let the ball bounce there dangerously. And Dragishin just about gets it away. But Tottenham cannot keep the ball at the moment. They're in down the left now with Trossard, running at Porro, who does well, and then he's fouled. Problem is with Mickey van der Ven out and Romero out, and particularly Romero, our ability to beat the press in our back four it's not happening at the moment. Kinski has the ball again, and he's being pressed hard onto his left foot again as well. And he ties the dick ball into Sonny, and Sonny does well to give it to Solanke, who goes with Bergvall. And can he give it back to Solanke? No, he can't, unfortunately. But we do win a throw in Arsenal's half. Tell you what, Solanke was nearly in there. That was good stuff down the left-hand side from Spurs. Kinski's left-footed kick found Sonny, gave it to Solanke. who gave it to Bergvall, and then Bergvall nearly found Solanke down the line. But anyway, well done by Spurs, and that will give Arsenal something to think about for the first time in the game, really. Archie Gray, though, being pressed. So he has to go back to Kinski, who's now halfway inside his own half, and he's tempted to go for a big, long, flat one. And he does do that, but it doesn't quite come off and goes all the way through to Raya. I see what he's going for, though. He's trying to find Kulusevski, and Kulusevski gave him a good hand up saying thank you. I think saying that was the right idea. And now Raya has it at his feet, trying to draw the Spurs press. And Solanke goes for it first, and Raya goes long. Archie Gray wins the first ball. And what's he given here? Offside against Arsenal, is it? Yeah, offside against Arsenal. And Arsenal, like I said, have 5 people pressing all the midfielders. And as a result, Archie goes back to the keeper, who gives us so much more of an... Oh, and he's taken another bad touch here, Kinski. And he's kicked it straight to Timber. Oof, dear. But well done, Lucas Bergvall. And Jed Spence now driving. That's good stuff from Jed Spence, driving down the left towards the Arsenal box. Tries the outside of the boot cross. It's a brilliant cross. And Solanke should score. And it's actually brilliant defending from, I think, Gabriel. The cross from Spence with the outside of his boot. And Solanke doesn't get a chance to score because it's brilliant defending from Gabriel. What a cross from Spence. So Spurs have their first corner. It's going to be an outswinger. Here it comes. It's a good delivery. Comes towards Dragoshin. Oh, chance for Deki. Oh, saved. Tip wide. It's on his wrong foot. So the outswinger comes in. Dragoshin challenges for it. And then it comes to Kulusevski. His first touch is great. And he's only 5 yards out. He should score. And Spurs have had a couple of chances. And I said we have to be clinical. But here's the next corner. Outswinger again towards the front. Comes a long way. But Arsenal are able to clear it. And Spence's first touch is good. But then he loses it. He loses it. But do you know what? Bissouma has done brilliantly and outpaced Ødegaard and saved Tottenham. And it comes back to Kinski, who plays a very brave ball just between the lines to Spence. And now Dragoshin has it and gives it out wide to Sarr, who should use his pace to drive here, but he doesn't. He's cut back by Havertz. Good couple of minutes for Spurs there, but then Spence nearly gave the ball away. Bergvall comes short and finds Spence again. Spence is going to be a key part of this game. He tries to find Bergvall. Party's with him, so he has to go back to Archie Gray. It's a good North London derby. There's 22 minutes gone. Spence into Bergvall, who tries to turn Party, but it's telegraphed. And there's an easy ball onto Havertz, and they're in down the left here, down the right here, Arsenal. They had men on the left, but they didn't see it. It comes back now to Party on the edge of the box. He goes to Ødegaard, of course, the playmaker. He finds Timber, wide right. Back to Sterling. Comes back to Ødegaard. Tottenham just not being careful enough with the ball in my eyes, but they are being pressed very hard by Arsenal, and that's what Arsenal are all about. Sterling now on the right. Comes back to Ødegaard. And now Ødegaard tries the dink, and it comes all the way over. Chance, but Kinski does well. The ball just came to the back post. Trossard gets something on it, and it bounces into Kinski's arms. And now he's released Sarr, who's opening his legs through midfield. Patrick Vieira-esque at the Emirates here. He's got Kulusevski outside him, and he goes for Kulusevski. In the box are Solanke and Son, but he goes to Sarr down the byline. He tries to cut it back, and that's a corner to Spurs. Good stuff. Oh, and the cross has come in already for Spurs. Chance for Son on the edge. It's a goal! Son Heung-min! Deflected from outside the box. He gives it the shush. I said before the game we need a captain's performance. Tottenham have hung in there for 25 minutes. And then a break ball from the corner comes to the edge of the box, and Sonny side foots it into the far corner. The ball is cleared and it comes to Son on the 18-yard box, and he goes for placement and it hits Timber and goes into the far corner. And the important thing for Sonny was keeping the ball down, getting his side foot over it. And you know, if you have a shot into a group of players, it can deflect in, and it did. And now we will face the Alamo again from Arsenal, but we'll know from this game already that there are chances on the break to be had. Arsenal 0, Tottenham 1, 25 minutes gone. An Arsenal kick off and go back to Raya, and straight away the long ball over the right-hand side. Spence wins it. High cleared header. Sarr has to be stronger going for the next header, and Rice heads it out. Corner to Spurs. Throw into Spurs, sorry. Rio Ferdinand on CoComs talking about Tottenham weathering the storm, and they've done that. Anyway, Jed Spence now on the ball, being pressed hard. And then Basuma comes and helps him, but gives it away. And then Ødegaard gives it away. And Basuma now drives out of midfield. And yeah, open your legs here, Biss. Open your legs and win a free kick or win something here, Biss. And then he tries a difficult ball into Solanke. It probably go off here, will it? Yeah, it will. Solanke is just out-muscled by Saliba. But good stuff through midfield from Basuma. Arsenal playing it around dangerously in their own half, and eventually they go long. Archie Gray challenging with Havertz, and he was being backed into there, but the referee is given, and now he's found a booking. The ref, who's he booked? It must be for dissent. Naive there from Pape Matar. Oh, I see. It wasn't for dissent. It was delaying the restart. Arsenal got it back to Raya, who go down the line. And Son is turned quite easily there by Timber. But his ball goes through to Archie Gray, who tries to find Solanke down the line. He was offside anyway. Son presses Ødegaard. He rolls him quite easily there, Ødegaard. Goes back to Saliba. And Gabriel plays it round the corner. And Arsenal have some room down the left because Kulusevski's nowhere near. So Sarr's got to go out and help Pedro Porro here as Trossard runs at him. Comes inside. He's going to try a dink, you would have thought. But no, it's well blocked by a mixture of Sarr and Kulusevski. Comes back to Gabriel. Comes back to Saliba, who tries the long one out to Sterling. It's a good ball. He's fronting up Jed Spence. Sterling taking on Jed Spence. Does well, Spence. And Sonny goes back to Archie Gray in a bit of a dangerous position. And now Spurs just being blocked in a little bit. He's looking for options. Goes down the line, Son. And that is a goal kick to Spurs. Kinski goes to Dragishin, of course, goes straight back to Kinski. And now Kinski has to go with his left footer into midfield. It's over the top of Solanke, and just too many occasions where Arsenal's press is making us do that. Is there a way for Bergvall to do what he did impressively after a few minutes and come and get it off Kinski into midfield, I wonder? Solanke pressing Saliba, who goes wide to Timber. Then Arsenal go back to Thomas Partey. Come back to Gabriel. The Arsenal fan. That's a good ball from Gabriel. And it's cut out. 4 Spurs players who are now ahead of the ball. And Arsenal breaking forward down the left with Trossard against Porro. The ball was a bit heavy and that might... Oh no. Trossard just turned Porro so easily, and Dragishin in a great position at the near post. And Porro has stayed down. And the ref... I'll tell you what, the Arsenal fans are not happy about that because Porro went down. And it's not a head injury, so I'm not quite sure why the ref has blown up there. But to be honest, Porro... Oh yeah, that could be a very bad injury for Porro, potentially. He's not in a good way here, Pedro. I'm hoping that it's just more of a shock because He slipped, and it looked like his studs got caught in the ground a little bit. And I said before the game, didn't I? The one thing we don't need is another injury. But he's played so many minutes, Porro. It wouldn't surprise you, would he? Would it? Half an hour to go. A bit of a break in the game. Porro's, he's not lying flat. He's kind of setting up. Hopefully it's more of a shock. Sonny is animated, to say the least. And I think that'll be because Spurs are struggling to get out of their own half. Spurs had actually done the corner short. And when the cross came in, so that changed things a little bit. And they're just showing the Spurs limbs in the crowd. And Sonny is incredibly animated tonight. More animated than I've probably ever seen him. But it looks like Porro can continue. He's holding his groin a bit. But he wants to be able to continue. And Arsenal, I think, will try and take advantage. Arteta complaining, of course, as ever, to the fourth official. They'll want to have some time without Porro on the pitch. They think they deserve it. The ball now with Ødegaard on the right-hand side, the inside right channel. Porro asking to be allowed back on. Ref still not letting him on as Gabriel has it. Arsenal fans getting a little bit restless, but here they could bring it to the right with Timber, I think it is. No, it wasn't Timber, actually. It was Sterling. Sorry, now it comes to Timber on the right. And still, it looks like Porro hasn't been let back on the pitch, and Sarr is playing it right back at the moment. Good ball into the box from Arsenal. It comes all the way across, and Dragishin, as ever, in the right position. And now Porro is allowed back on the pitch, and Arsenal are offside, so Spurs get a free kick. People complaining about Porro having had a bad game in the Tamworth match, but he plays so many minutes and he tries things. He's brave on the ball, and Ange loves that. So Archie Gray takes the free kick to Kinski, who plays it out wide to Dragishin as Havertz was pressing him. And Dragishin can open his legs a little bit here. He needs an option, though. Comes towards the halfway line, Dragishin. I like that. And he finds Kulusevski. And he loses it too easily there, Kulusevski. And Arsenal have beaten both Dragishin and Kulusevski in midfield now. Bergvall working hard to get back on Ødegaard. That was too easy from Kulusevski there. The one thing he shouldn't do is lose the ball there when his centre-back has gone past him. Very frustrating. And then he gives away a stupid foul, Kulusevski, right on the edge of the box. Yeah, Rio Ferdinand saying you'd be going mad. And this free kick is in the inside right position, about 22 yards out. Obviously, Deki Kulusevski's had an unbelievable season, but there he made a couple of mistakes. He really must know when Dragishin makes that run, having driven up the pitch, that all he has to do is keep the ball on the touchline there. Win a foul, anything, keep it, don't lose it. And he loses it, and both him and Dragishin and Bergvall are all out of the game then. And then he tries to chase it and make back his mistake, and you give him credit for that, but gives away a stupid foul. And now Ødegaard and Rice are standing over it. Spurs holding a line about 13 yards out. They've got a 4-man wall. Ødegaard looking like he's going to dink it, is he? Or is he going to shoot? He dinks it to the far stick, and they've got a free header, but well done Bissouma at the back post. Heads it out for a corner. 34 minutes gone. Real backs to the wall performance from Tottenham Hotspur so far, and Arsenal, as ever, taking time, but not as much time over this corner with Rice going over there. He's given the instruction to Gabriel, who's giving the instruction to all their players. Rice is going to swing it in. They're a bit closer to the 6-yard box now, the men at the back. Here it comes, the in-swinger. Keeper's coming. Big punch from the keeper. Brilliant from Kinski again. Ødegaard tries to get the ball back out to Rice, but Bissouma's out there and does well with his body strength there. and plays it down the line to Kulusevski. He's got to hold it here somehow, win something. He does get it back to Sarr, who tries a big old diag. Oh, I tell you what, nearly got it over Raheem Sterling. I didn't think he was going to. Spence gets the ball down. You've got to be careful here because Gray's being pressed. Gray does well under pressure. He does. Archie Gray, brilliant from Archie Gray. He tries to play the ball down line, it goes out, but it doesn't matter because he did the hard work. Arsenal take their throw in down the line, and then Saliba, I think it is, beats Solanke's press very impressively. And he plays a big, long crossfield ball out to the left, and Kulusevski needs to keep working here. Oh, and he's nutmegged there, Decky. And Sarr, I think, was tempted to go in for a slide tackle on Trossard there, but remembered at the last minute that he's been booked. Arsenal still popping it about. Gabriel plays it out wide left. Comes back inside to Rice, who comes to Partey. It comes out wide right now to Sterling. Jed Spence gets near him. Sonny comes to help. And it goes back to Ødegaard. They love playing in these little half spaces, Arsenal, in the little inside left and the inside right channels. Gabriel plays a lovely ball over the top of Porro. He's calling for an offside, but it's not been given. And Arsenal are in down the left here. Early cross, well cleared by Gray. Coming towards Kulusevski, lets it bounce, but he has to be strong there, and he's not. He's out-muscled. That's the third or fourth time that's happened to Kulusevski. He's usually so much stronger than that. Is he tired? Is he fatigued? Comes to Sterling, wide right now, fronting up Spence again. Oh, and he does go down the line this time, Sterling, and Spence uses his strength and wins a goal kick. Absolutely brilliant from Spence. Okay, Archie Gray to Kinski, and now Kinski being pressed by Havertz, who dinks it to Spence. He's under a bit of pressure here, so it goes back to Gray. And Spurs, goes pressed by Arsenal, and it's a throw-in to Spurs, but in a pretty dangerous area, back in their own left-back spot, right by the corner flag. Spence with the throw-in. He's got Solanke down the line, and Son needs to get outside him. He's being pushed by Timber. Of course he is. Arsenal, just the masters of the dark arts off the ball. Guys, just while there's a bit of a break in play, do give this video a like. Smash the like button. Let's get as many people seeing this as possible. 2,500 of you watching this concurrently at the moment, guys. Thank you so much for your support. Do give Chris's channel a subscribe and my channel there in the bottom left. Give me a subscribe. Okay, the throw-in has happened. Solanke was pushed, but it wasn't given. And Archie, careful there, Sarr. Oh, Sarr had to be careful there. And Gray goes back to Kinski, who's pressed. Plays a good ball out wide to Porro, who plays it first time to Kulusevski, who again has to hold it. He's being rushed, but he does well down the line. And Kulusevski plays a beautiful ball down the line to Sarr. His touch is a bit heavy. Oh, tell you what, he was absolutely crunched there. And he's gone down, and the ref hasn't given anything again. And now Arsenal are in down the left. That was studs up, that tackle. And they get to the byline, Arsenal, with Trossard, and it's good defending. It's a corner, and Porro thought it was a goal kick. Another corner for Arsenal. We're into the 39th minute. Declan Rice taking his time to go and take it. Once again, Saliba giving out the information to Partey. It's going to be another in-swinger. Here it comes. Comes towards the keeper again. And it's a goal. Gabriel, of course. Came all the way over the top of the keeper. Set piece FC once again. It came all the way over Kinski. Goalkeeper blocked, apparently, according to Ali McCoist. Yeah, he just gets blocked, Kinski, by, I think it's Pape Matar. But it's Dragishin marking Gabriel, and he's not even looking at the ball, really, until a bit too late. And Kinski is blocked off by his own man. It's actually an own goal, I think, if they give it officially an own goal. But oh, and it shouldn't have been a corner in the first place. So it's 1-1. Spurs have to start again. Jed Spence being pulled down. Oh, and the ref does give Tottenham a free kick. And this is a chance for Spurs to get the ball in the box here. It's wide left. Poor refereeing there. Tottenham have had a lot of bad refereeing decisions this season. And that wasn't even a corner. And of course, they've scored from the corner that wasn't a corner. But you can't say that Arsenal haven't deserved to be level in this game, because they've had all the play. But you expect the referee and the linesman to be able to find a way to fucking give the right decision, don't you? Let's hope it levels itself up at some point in this game. Anyway, Sonny is going to leave it for Bergvall. There's too much on that from Bergvall, and Raya claims it easily. And now someone has to block him off here so he can't release it quickly. He does now get it out wide. Saliba just goes for the long one down the middle, and Spurs are left 2-on-2 here because Dragishin was up the pitch. And the ref is booking an Arsenal player there for a foul on Dragishin. Dragishin made the most of that, and I'm pleased he did. Such a shame. Such a shame we conceded there, but... Oh, yeah. Havertz just gets on Dragishin's ankle. And Archie Gray, pressed so quickly by Arsenal, has to go back to Kinski, who has to go long. And he goes towards Sonny, but easily cut out by Saliba. And Saliba goes down the line. Bissouma wins the first one, but he could have taken that down on his chest. And as a result, Arsenal are able to get through midfield. Just Spurs need to be a little braver on the ball here. Arsenal get it all the way across now to the left-hand side with just 2 minutes left. I hate to say it, but Tottenham need to remain strong in these moments before half-time. Rice finds Trossard, finds Erdegaard, and his ball isn't great. And that's a foul on Solanke, but Bergvall picks it up and drives through midfield. And he does well. And he finds Kulusevski and continues Bergvall, and that's a good run from him. But he's taken out off the ball there, Bergvall. Of course he is. Arsenal are fucking kings at that. The refs don't even watch it, do they? Bergvall making a run down the line. His shirt's pulled back. Really shocking. Anyway, Spence now. Needs more options. Finds Bissouma, who's beaten in the midfield by Partey. And it comes in down the left now to Trossard. And too many men have gone forward. And it's a goal. Fuck off! And Tottenham have to be better in those moments before half-time when they've been in the game. So frustrating. The ball bounces over the keeper. It's a finish on his left foot and it bounces over him. It's a good finish. Oh, McCoy's saying he should be saving that, but it bobbles up over his hand. Fuck off. Archie Gray now. Spurs have to stay in this game and not let Arsenal get another one, especially not before half-time. They have to stay in this game. 4 minutes added. Archie Gray into Jed Spence, who's pushed in the back, not given, of course. Pushed in the back again, and that's a throw into Spurs. Tottenham just being pushed every time they get the ball. Solanke rolls his man in midfield and he's fouled, and that should be a booking in midfield. Fuck off, Arteta. Such a cunt on the sidelines. So fucking annoying. Thinks he's fucking God's gift. He is literally the reason Arsenal will not win anything, that man. He thinks he's the opposite. He thinks he's the reason they've got a chance. He's not. That's the frustrating thing about Bissouma. I've said it so many times. He does the hard things so well, but when it comes to the easy things, the keeping of the ball back to goal in midfield, not giving it away when it's a really dangerous situation, he loses concentration. He makes the wrong decisions. Now Spurs have to stay in this game. I fear you don't get many chances, especially Spurs at the Emirates, to be ahead and to win the game. But I guess playing devil's advocate to that, the only time we won at the Emirates in the league, we were 2-0 down at half-time. So stranger things have happened. But Spurs need to play smart here. And they're not able to keep the fucking ball on the halfway line or from our own back four. And we've lost the ball already from our own throw. And again, not able to get rid of it even. Spurs look a little like we're wilting a little bit here. And there's 2 more minutes to go this half. We need to get into the changing room. Arsenal, just so many men. They've got 3 men on the right-hand side. Ødegaard plays an easy ball into midfield. And Dragusin blocks it. I know. McCoy is just saying how Arsenal can't be allowed to turn like that in the box. Just far too much space. And I think Spurs are just wilting at this point. A mixture of fatigue and just fog of war at this point after being kind of shell-shocked from 2 goals so quickly. And that's why we've got to just last this 90 seconds. And again, just so much space on the right. They've got 3 or 4 each time on the right-hand side, Arsenal. Yeah, because Trossard's come over to the right with Sterling. They're just playing quite fluidly, Arsenal. Now Ødegaard looking to get a cross in. He doesn't. He goes across to Partey. Plays it inside and Spence does well, but Partey helps him out. And then Spence does brilliantly in the tackle. No! That is never, ever a foul. And now Spence is probably going to get booked for dissent. The ref has not given way fucking so frustrating. Such a fucking homer. Honestly. Such a home referee. Spence got all of the ball and Spurs were on a transition. And even Ange, as we know, doesn't like getting annoyed at refs. He's livid on the sidelines. And now Arsenal have a free kick and get it into the box. Rice with it. Spence clears it at the front post. Got to get out now, Spurs. 15 seconds left till half-time. Come on. Raya goes for the long diag over Porro. Porro gets it out for a throw-in. And we need the ref to blow up for half-time here. And he does. Thank God. Arsenal 2, Tottenham Hotspur 1. You don't get many chances in games at the Emirates. And unfortunately, we have an inability to keep the football. And it keeps coming back at us. And of course, yes, Arsenal are great at pressing. We know that. And Sonny is complaining because the equalizer, which came from a corner, was not a corner. Literally, and the ref will see it, literally came off Trossard from Porro's defending. And Sonny is talking to the ref about it. I have to say, I think the ref has had a very biased first half. All the 50-50s, or everything has gone to Arsenal. And that is why Arsenal got their equaliser. And then, unfortunately, Bissouma made another mistake. I like Bissouma as a player, but he just does not keep concentration, and it's so frustrating. Guys, please do give this watch along a like. Let's hope that we can somehow find a way to turn this around on the break. Find a way to keep hold of the ball, be braver on the transition in the second half. But do give this video a like. Please do subscribe to Chris's YouTube channel if you haven't already, at Chris Cowlin. And if you like the cut of my slightly angry jib, please come and see my YouTube channel. Come and subscribe to it. You'll see it in the bottom left-hand corner there, at Barnaby Slater _. I bring you daily Premier League transfer videos throughout this January, as well as Tottenham videos. And I'll always talk in terms of transfers about Tottenham too. But the good start of the first half kind of started with a backs to the wall effort from the first minute. Bergvall intercepted a pass early. He's been great at that all game, to be fair to him. Second minute, huge chance for Raheem Sterling. He was actually in a through ball from the left, but Kinski dived bravely at his feet and that put him off. Sterling tried to kind of take it round Kinski, but Tottenham's defenders were able to get back and clear it. I've written a note, 5th minute, Arsenal just pressing Spurs into so many mistakes high up the pitch. Then 6th minute, Son, by the 6th minute, had been fouled twice with his back to goal, and the ref gave neither of them. So many of those have not been given to Tottenham, but have been given to Arsenal. I've made a note in the 7th minute, Spurs defending well at the moment, pretty good, but giving away naive free kicks in the first 7-10 minutes. Both Spence and Bergvall gave away free kicks, and every time there's any kind of contact on an Arsenal player, they go down and the ref gives it. But it's not the case for Spurs. Huge chance in the 12th minute for Arsenal, but Dragoshin managed to get a block on it. Spurs couldn't get out, and Trossard was free in the box, but Dragoshin blocked it. 15th minute, though, Bergvall probably should have been booked by the ref, and he wasn't. He has started the game well, though. A very late tackle from him. I think the earliness of the game when it came in is probably what saved him. 16th minute, brilliant from Kinski. Came for a free kick and punched it. He's done that time and time again in the first half, but in the 17th minute, he then got a little bit too confident on the ball, took it onto his left foot, which is something Arsenal have been pushing him to do. They've been pressing him onto his left foot all game. They pressed Dragoshin, so he has to pass it back to Kinski, and then they press him onto his left foot. He took too much time. Havertz pressed him, and fortunately, Kinski managed to dive at the feet of Havertz, stopping it from being a goal. He punched another corner in the 18th minute, but then one of the best bits of Spurs play in the half, 21st minute, Spence drove down the left and a beautiful outside of the boot cross, and Solanke was about to open the scoring, but some amazing defending from Gabriel out for a corner. And then Deki Kulusevski had another great chance from that corner when it broke to him, and he was only about 4 or 5 yards out on the right-hand side, goes with his right foot, goes towards the near post, and Raya is able to save it. 23rd minute, Trossard had a chance at the back post, but it goes into Kinski's arms. And then there was a quick break on the transition for Sarr, who gave it to Kulusevski, gave it back to Sarr on the byline, but the cross was blocked for a corner. And from that corner, in the 24th minute, Sonny opens the scoring. It was a short corner. It gets cleared by Arsenal to the edge of the box. Sonny keeps it down with his side foot, and it's deflected, I think, off Saliba into the far corner. Dreamland for Tottenham, but unfortunately it didn't last nearly long enough. 26th minute, Pape Matar was booked for delaying the restart. Quite naive. He was complaining about a foul given against Archie Gray, when actually, in my opinion, Kai Havertz was backing in to Archie Gray. And that's another example of the ref just giving everything to Arsenal. 29th minute, Porro too easily turned in the box by Trossard, or near the box on the byline. Porro actually slipped and stayed down, looked worrying, and Trossard's cross was thankfully cleared by Dragoshin. 32nd minute, another example, really good example actually, of how Spurs have been unable to hold the ball up on the halfway line at all, just being bullied out of it by the Arsenal back four, and it was actually Kulusevski. Dragoshin had made a good run down the right-hand side, all the way into Arsenal's half, gives the ball to Kulusevski on the right-hand touchline. And the only thing Kulusevski has to not do at that point is lose the ball, because obviously Dragoshin has continued his run outside him. But Kulusevski tries something a little bit too clever, does lose the ball, and then Arsenal are in, and Spurs have got 5 men ahead of the ball. Kulusevski, to give him credit, chases it back, wants to atone for his error, but then gives away a naive foul just outside the box. Dangerous free kick, but more brilliance from Kinski punching the ball away. 36th minute, brilliant strength from Spence against Sterling when he tried to beat him on the outside. In my opinion, Spence has got Sterling's numbers so far, but what Arsenal are doing quite cleverly is they're kind of trebling up on Spence down the right-hand side. They're getting Trossard over there. They've got Timber over there as well. So Spence is kind of being fronted up by too many players. 38th minute, a studs-up tackle on Pape Matar. Yeah, he got a bit of the ball, but he went in with his studs up. Given us a foul in every game in the Premier League, usually nothing given. And then 1 minute later, the goal from Gabriel from a corner that, like I said, should never have been a corner. Porro managed to do some brilliant defending, gets it to go off Trossard for what should be a goal kick. Ref gives it as a corner. And then it's the deep one again to the back post. The set-piece FC special. And Kinski, as he comes for it, is blocked by his own man, as I think Pape Matar is trying to block off an Arsenal player. And as a result, Gabriel gets a free header at the back post, and it's Dragoshin who was marking Gabriel, but loses him. Basically, doesn't keep his eye on him. And, yeah, devastating. And then 42nd minute, Havertz was booked for a foul on Dragoshin, quite a high tackle into his ankle. And then the killer, the 43rd minute, second goal for Arsenal from Trossard. Actually started with another kind of bad decision, I think, from the ref, who's not really seeing much for Spurs. Bergvall made a great run down the line, having given the ball to Kulusevski and could have got it, but he's pulled back off the ball, Bergvall. And then Arsenal win the ball back, come through midfield. Bissouma then gets a chance and has the ball in midfield and gives it away very sloppily on the centre circle. And Arsenal are in. And as ever, Tottenham just absolutely open on their right hand side in the right back position, and Trossard is driving at Porro or driving into space. So I don't think Porro is even there, and Dragoshin should come across, and he gets a good strike on the left foot. And listen, Ali McCoist on co-commentary is saying that Kinski should have saved it. I don't agree. I think it took a big bobble over Kinski. He went with one hand. I think he could have maybe got a firm wrist on it, but he didn't, and it bobbles over and into the far corner. 4 added minutes given. Spence tackled well, not given as a foul. Spence got a great tackle and was in on a transition on the left, and it was no way a foul. He got all of the ball, and the ref gives it as a foul. And I've just written in capital letters, absolute joke. For me, the ref is far too involved in this game and far too up for giving everything to Arsenal. Very frustrating because, like I said, I just don't feel you get enough. I don't feel you get many chances at the Emirates to go ahead, and if you go ahead, you've got to keep at it. I'm just going to see what the co-coms are saying about the corner that wasn't a corner. Keown saying that Arsenal were lucky to get that corner, but still, the ball coming all the way to the back post like that, Tottenham need to do more. And it's actually Dragoshin who heads it at the back post, and then I think it goes in off Solanke. And of course, set piece FC and Arteta and his ridiculous set piece coach, loving it. Okay, I'm going to go into the comments, guys. Deary me. Lots of people giving Bissouma stick. Charles Preston says Bissouma's too lazy and sloppy, ruins everything. Apec20 says, I thought we'd do Woolwich this game. Still think we might get a result. I'm probably deluded. Randin, thanks for your comments. Says, ref is bad. Remove Bissouma. Play Maddison and Cooley midfield and Brennan or Richarlison on the right. Can I just say, Randin, I think it's too early to go for that because Arsenal are already just getting through our midfield so easily. And if we had 2 creatives on there ahead of the ball each time, I think they'd score far too quickly. Benny Bang says they're forcing the ball to our left, keeping the ball away from our best player, Kulusevski. Yeah, but when Kulusevski does get the ball, he's not managing to hold it up either. That's what I'd say. Key Bike says our midfields are not showing for the ball, hence we can't get out from the back. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because Bergvall did that one bit of great play really early on in that half where he came and got the ball from the back line and he turned Ødegaard and he was out. And he did have a heavy touch and it led to a bad tackle, but I think it's shown. That's brilliant. Dalton Giffard here, an absolute joke comment. Bring on Austin. Probably not even a Spurs fan. That's a ridiculous comment. The goalkeeper's been absolutely brilliant as far as I'm concerned. I don't blame him for either of those goals. I really don't. And also, I think he's saved loads of goals from his proactive play. Little super chat here. Thank you so much. Gazatron says, love your channel. Keep up the good work, guys. Thank you so much for your super chats, guys. Really appreciate it. And I'll always try and show them. Of course, I will. Let's have a look at some other comments. Gardu says, Bissouma, Bergvall and Madders midfield will allow unlocking of Arsenal's press, although I reckon Arsenal will go into their counter-attack mode in the second half, hoping to break after parking and committing 9 Spurs players. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Arsenal come out. They really utilised the strong atmosphere at the start of the game, didn't they? But we're getting outrun in the midfield, that's for sure. Let's see. Kai Bike says we need a right winger this January. Stop playing Decky there. Geminini says Ange could make some changes this time at half-time. I think it's probably a bit soon for that. Mark Field says cheating Arsenal as usual. Yadami 08, not very confident, says I reckon we'll go on to lose 4-1. I hope you're wrong. Guys, do get back into the comments. I'll try and read out as many comments as we can. Jack Lagros, thanks, mate. A regular says we are overrun for large parts of the first half. That's true, and that's why it's kind of extra frustrating, because for me, you don't get many chances at the Emirates to have a lead, and that's why it's super frustrating that corner was given. Because yeah, Arsenal have been on top of us, absolutely they have, but you know, we looked quite dangerous on the counter a few times, and we were defending pretty well. They hadn't cut us open really, apart from that one chance where Kinski dived at Havertz's feet. Yeah, I don't know. Arsenal are they've obviously they're a lot further along with their project. They've got far fewer injuries, but in midfield they really know how to kind of double and treble up on us out wide and in central midfield. And the main thing is we're just not able to be smart enough on the ball to keep the football. That's what's depressing. Kev Williams says too much individual play and not enough effort. And Doug Hill says they are tackling better than we are. Well, they're tackling, they're keeping the ball better than we are at the moment. It's not been great, but we had our shot, and unfortunately, not only him, but the ref has helped them get back in this game for sure. Once again, guys, before the second half starts, please do give this video a like. Over 3,500 of you watching at the moment. Thank you so much for your support. If you're on YouTube especially, drop this video a like. Also, do subscribe to Chris's channel, at Chris Cowlin, for just endless daily Tottenham content. And also, come and subscribe to my channel. You'll see it in the bottom left-hand corner there, at Barnaby Slater _. I'm so close to 15,000 subscribers now that, guys, help me get over the line. I want to build this community together. At the moment, because it's January transfer window, I'm bringing you daily transfer talk videos, always starting with Spurs, of course, and many more bits of Tottenham Hotspur content. Mariah says, from the 3rd minute, Dragic was shocking. I don't think that's true. I think he's actually been very important in clearing many, many balls that have come into our box. TSOM says, we have two 18-year-olds playing. Stop being reactionary, embarrassing fans, Ange in. Yeah, there are some people in the comments talking about Ange out. I don't agree with that. This is one of the hardest games in the Premier League, and we're certainly giving them a game, but we just need to find a way to keep control of the game again. I do wonder if, like somebody said in the comments, is there a possibility Arsenal will sit back and just play this out, which might make it a bit easier for us, but to be honest, we're not very good at breaking down deep blocks either, are we? But yeah, just to give you guys the itinerary of what's going to carry on. So I'll be doing the watch-along, of course, for the second half. And then I will do a instant post-match reaction video straight after the game. Following that, it will be the fans show, where fans from all around the world will be calling in and giving their thoughts on this game. Just 10 minutes or so before half-time, it was looking pretty positive, but Arsenal have found a way to turn it round. And I have a fear what can happen in these kind of games is a team who scores just before the half often scores again just after half-time. And I do think if that happened, it would be very, very difficult for Tottenham to come back from. Looking for positives, though, we do have, for the first time in a long time, some serious options off the bench. Mikey Moore, Richarlison, of course, James Maddison, Brennan Johnson, all players who can bring legs in the second half as the players come back out onto the pitch. Just trying to think about what Ange will have been saying at half-time. Doesn't look like there have been any changes. Sonny has got them in the huddle. I think, look, realistically, we're losing where we're not being... Oh, he is bringing Johnson on, actually. Who's this going to be for? Johnson and Maddison on. Got to assume it's for Sarr. And Basuma. Wow. So I'll tell you why I think that is. And I said it was probably too early to do that when someone suggested it. But I think basically what Ange is saying, we're not keeping the ball. We're going to bring on a player to help in the central midfield. So Johnson will go right, and it will be Bergvall. This is the most... Yeah, this could be anything this game now, because it's the most attacking midfield you've ever seen. It's Bergvall, Kulusevski, and James Maddison in central midfield. I mean, you know, Ange doing Ange things. Ugh. Arsenal kickoff. Right, with the long kick. I mean, look, hopefully we should be able to keep the ball a bit better, but will we get the ball to keep the ball? And when they break on us, who's going to chase back? Johnson working hard on the right. Kulusevski just getting a bit closer to Partey. And that's just too easy for Saliba to break the press there, but good press from Madders, who seems to be starting a little bit on the left-hand side there, but it breaks past him and past Bergvall into Declan Rice. And now Arsenal are in behind, and they've got a lot of space in central midfield now. And Maddison and Kulusevski and Johnson all ahead of the ball. And Arsenal driving, and they're in on the left now with Trossard. It's just a bit of a heavy ball. Trossard now fronting up Poro. Far too easy in there. The shot blocked. Kulusevski is going to lose the ball again outside his box. Ali McCoist was asked there, is it brave from Ange, this substitution, or is it folly? And that will depend on the result, won't it? But Bergvall basically being asked to play the 6 now. Arsenal in down the right, and Bergvall gets a touch on the ball, and he does well. Jed Spence gets it down the line. First touch for Madders. And Arsenal just pressing every Spurs player there. So Madders has to go back to Archie Gray. Goes down the line to Jed Spence. And he is pressed. Kind of kicked in the back a little bit as well. Brennan Johnson just playing high and wide on the right, even though the ball is in the left back position. I mean, you know, if we can get the ball to him, great, but miles away. Up to Solanke, who's obviously kicked from behind. And the ref does give that. Thank you, ref. Good for you to see that that's happening all the time and that Arsenal just basically a fucking kicking team. Madders for the free kick, leaves it to Spence. Does look like Madders is playing on the left, basically. I guess the only question you could ask about Kinski with the second goal is, could he have gone with 2 hands? Anyway, he's got the ball now from Archie Gray. He's being pressed and opens the ball out wide to Dragusin, whose first touch isn't great, but he lays it down the line into Johnson, who plays a lovely first-time ball to Porro. And now he plays it to Kulusevski, but there's not enough on it, and Declan Rice is there to kick it out for throw, but that was better from Spurs. Porro with the throw-in. Goes back to Dragusin, who goes to Archie Gray. There's not a lot on that ball, and Gray's forced to go back to Kinski. Spurs have to be firmer with their passing. Kinski goes to Dragusin, who's pressed, so he has to go back to Kinski, who goes into the feet of Maddison, who plays a good first-time ball across to Dragusin, who comes to Porro, and back to Dragusin, and now Dragusin needs an option, but he hasn't got one, so he has to go back, and Erdegaard just presses so hard, but a good ball from Kinski out wide to Spence, but he's pressed as well, goes inside to Bergvall, and that's better from Spurs. Maddison tries the little nutmeg, doesn't quite work, but he gets it to Bergvall. He's trying the big diag, but good touch from good interception from Declan Rice, but Solanke gets in there. And you can see that Spurs are better on the ball already, but they will be more open when they get caught. Good ball from Porro into Kulusevski in the box. Oh, but Rice does well. Comes back to Johnson, who comes back to Porro. Spurs on the edge of Arsenal's box now. Madders might have a dig here. He shapes, but he doesn't. Goes to Porro. It's only Solanke really in the box, though, so Spurs having to tippy-tappy it around on the right-hand side. And Arsenal, of course, have 11 men. But it comes to Sonny on the edge of the box. He's got some space here and has a dig. Oh, and it hits Solanke, I think, and goes out for a goal kick. Right. He goes long with the first one. Oh, and Dragusin. Oh, Arsenal have won that, but Bergvall does brilliantly. Well done, Lucas Bergvall. And finds some space to James Maddison, who gets out wide to Sonny now, fronting up his fullback. And Madders is going across to help him. Good lad, Madders. Good football from Spurs. Madders is at the byline. Chance! Oh, the cross isn't quite there. Madders is trying to blame Johnson for not getting across the front post. And Bergvall's won the ball high. Oh, and that's brilliant. Sonny is now in on the left, but he's blocked by 2 players. Oh, and it just goes into Raya's arms. And Raya just, the ref just talking to Archie Gray. Looks like he's had a bit of a head clash. And he's talking to, he's got a bit of a painful sore head there, Archie Gray, but he wants to play on. 50 minutes gone. And the ball comes back to Raya's feet. Still Arsenal 2, Spurs 1. It has been a better start from Spurs this half, but I do worry about us in midfield when Arsenal have the ball. Archie Gray lets the ball bounce over him there. And Bergvall does well. Oh, and then goes out for a corner to Arsenal because Bergvall tries to slide. And, of course, Havertz complaining. Don't know what about. Havertz is embarrassing, honestly. He went down there trying to get a foul off Archie Gray, and it really isn't. It's another corner for Arsenal. And here comes Set Piece FC. And as I said before this game, Arsenal have scored so many corner goals against Spurs, and they've scored another one today, and this is their 8th corner. And it's going to be another in-swinger. This time from Ødegaard. And all the players now coming across the keeper. No, and they should score at the near post. Who's marking Havertz? Jed Spence is kind of wrong side of him a little bit. Bergvall doing well through midfield, and Spurs are definitely getting on the ball a lot more at the moment. Madders has Spence outside him and finds him. Good run from Spence, who finds Sonny outside him, and then Sonny can't get a touch on it. Thomas Tuchel, is in the crowd tonight watching as England manager. And Arsenal have lost the ball. It's good. Jed Spence, and comes to Bergvall, who gets it back to Kinski, who gives it outside him to Dragoshin. And once again, they are pressing him. And Johnson tries to turn it. Again, so Johnson tries to turn it onto Kulusevski, but isn't able to get enough on it. Don't mind that. Right, with the long kick. Over the top of Porro, and somehow Havertz is just completely through. In on the left. Dragoshin has been pulled out of position as well. Oh, and he plays a brilliant ball, Trossard. But Bergvall, beautiful running with Declan Rice, who'd made a run from deep. And the pressure there means that he can't get to the ball. And it's a Spurs goal kick. Good stuff from Lucas Bergvall, who I've been very impressed with today. Archie Gray now being pressed. The keeper being pressed, and he has to go straight down the middle to Solanke, who tries the chest to Kulusevski. Oh, and then Porro gives away a silly foul in midfield. Arsenal so good at the dark arts of just feeling something in their back and going down. And now, of course, because it's a free kick in Spurs' half, they will send the centre-halves forward and get it into the box. Deary me, it's old-fashioned. In fact, Rice just easily dinks it over to Trossard, and he can't keep it on. And that'll probably frustrate Arsenal because they were going to get it in the box and tried something different. Maybe that's why they do always get it in the box. Spurs have a throw-in with Porro. Rio Ferdinand talking about Lewis Skelly for Arsenal, 18 years old, compose. We'll talk about Bergvall and Archie Gray, mate. They've been brilliant. And then the Arsenal fans singing their North London Forever embarrassment. Solanke does well to win the ball. Gives it to Kulusevski. Bit of a heavy touch from Decky, but he's driving down the right-hand side. But he's outpaced and outstrengthed by Lewis Skelly. And then Kulusevski fouls him. That is good play from Lewis Skelly, to be fair. And Arsenal have the ball in midfield now. Madders putting the press on, but easily beaten in midfield. And Partey now finds Ødegaard, and they've just got so much space. They take it out to the right, but Sonny is helping out Spence out there. Bergvall presses Ødegaard, but he glides past him, and they're in down the right very easily here, Arsenal. Ødegaard forced to cut back, and then a good touch from Madders, but an easy cross in here for Partey. Free header for Havertz. Why is he not being marked? I guess because we don't have any centre-backs. Oh, and Spurs have lost the ball high up the pitch. It's going to be a goal for Arsenal. Oh, but Bergvall did brilliantly. Great stuff from Bergvall there. Gets out wide to Kulusevski. And Kulusevski driving at the right-hand side of Arsenal now. When he tries an early cross, and it comes to Johnson, who gets a shot, and it's blocked. Bergvall gets the ball, picks it up. Now to Porro. He's going to try a cross. Does he? No, he goes to Kulusevski on the right. And Kulusevski dinks it towards the far post, but unfortunately Son had pulled out wide. But Spurs putting some pressure on now. Jed Spence gives it to Madders, the inside left position. He's got Spence outside him. Gives it to Spence, who will presumably give it to Sonny, and does. Good ball from Madders over the top to Solanke. He keeps it on well if he's onside. And he wasn't. He was offside. Arsenal go long into midfield. They're just winning a lot of the second balls at the moment, Arsenal. Good tackle from Johnson. Be strong. Well done. And Johnson finds Solanke early. Good stuff. And then Solanke can't hold it. He was trying to hold it and kind of pass it into Kulusevski all in one motion. And it was too hard. He just needed to try and hold it if he could. Arsenal now back on the ball with Sterling. Arsenal just playing with Spurs in central midfield a little bit. Ødegaard gets it out wide right to Sterling. He's got a man outside him. Oh, and it's a good cross. And it's a good chance of the back post. Trossard. But bad clearance from Spurs, from Spence. But it comes up in the air. And then Spurs just let it bounce in the box. That's bonkers. And an Arsenal player goes down. And then Spurs win a free kick. Trossard's begging for a penalty here. Trossard's embarrassing. Spurs, good ball down the line. Kulusevski, though, muscled out by Rice. Too many times Decky has been muscled out this game. Come on, Decky. Come on, mate. I know you're tired. Arsenal have the ball now with Saliba. Plays it to Partey. Bergvall pressing him. Goes back to Gabriel, who goes with a big diag. It's a great ball. Arsenal in down the right. That's brilliant. They're ball players as well, the centre halves. And now they're in behind Jed Spence. And it's Havertz driving at Archie Gray. Madders does help him out and then dinks it to the back stick, but Porro gets his head on it. And Decky needs to be strong here, and he's not. And he wins a handball. And then Trossard complains and should get booked for that. Raheem Sterling comes off. Martinelli on, so more pace. Come on, Spurs. 60 minutes gone. We're still in this game. Come on, let's get this crowd restless. We've definitely been better this half. Definitely. Dragishin with the free kick. And he goes back to Kinski, and Havertz, as ever, pressing Kinski hard. Needs an option, Kinski, and again, nearly loses it on his left foot, but goes long up towards Son. The midfielders have to give the keeper a bit of a better option. Shut up, Ferdinand. Ferdinand's trying to say it's the pressure starting from Kinski being... He's not getting the options. Maddison beaten easily in midfield by Rice, and then Madders actually pulls Rice back, but they get in down the right here, Arsenal, behind Spence. Havertz plays a ball, and Kinski dives well at the feet of Martinelli. Come on, Tottenham. We've got to give the keeper more options. Seems like there's fatigue going at the moment. Dragishin's got to get out wider. Archie Gray, but Jed Spence runs away from Archie Gray and narrow there, and Gray gives him a horrible ball, and Kinski back heels it to Archie Gray. Spurs just giving each other horrible passes at the moment, and in the end, Kinski has to go down the line, and Arsenal win the second one, of course. Good strength in the middle from Solanke. Spence does well. Gray straight away goes back to Kinski, who needs an option and goes round the corner to Porro. Will it stay on? It will, and Porro kind of hikes it down the line. It's over the top for Johnson to chase this. Johnson gets a foot in, but it doesn't quite break for Spurs. But I like what Johnson tried to do there. I really do. Ah! Fucking Arsenal players just diving on the floor. Arsenal, the absolute masters of the dark arts. But Spurs have to be clever and not just plough into the back of Arsenal players. Go like you're going to. Make him stop, but you stop as well so that he's not near the ball and then nick in ahead of him. Come on, learn. Raya with the free kick. He's going to go long from inside his own half. Havertz flicks it on, and Porro just has to whack it, or chooses to. Solanke tries to hold it up, but can't. And Arsenal win it again. Comes to Trossard. He dinks it over the top. Solanke's trying to help out, and Arsenal are in with Rice. Oh, his first touch helps Spurs, but he gets to the byline. And Gray's in a good position. Corner, Arsenal. Just every second ball is... It's like Arsenal have got a bit more. And you'd think that, wouldn't you? Because of the injuries Spurs have got and the fatigue. Basically, Tottenham having to use the same 14 players. But it was good football from Arsenal. Spurs were a bit saved by the fact that Declan Rice's first touch wasn't brilliant, but Archie Gray does well to block the cross. And this will be Set Piece FC's 10th corner or so. Come on, Spurs. Declan Rice is going to in-swing it. £100 million set piece taker. He's had a great game, to be fair to him, Declan Rice. Here it comes. I think we know where it's coming. Yep. Actually, fails to beat the first man. It was a poor delivery. And actually, the clearance goes straight to Deki Kulusevski, who goes back to Porro. And David Raya clears because it was a long ball over the top and Spurs had men. Arteta screaming at the referee, of course. But good goalkeeping from Raya there. As Martinelli presses Dragishin. Martinelli presses Gray and gets out to Spence. He goes down the line into Son's feet. And Son has to go all the way back to Gray because Arsenal know exactly how and where to press. And Gray goes back to the keeper, who gets out wide to Dragishin. And the Arsenal fans cheering the keeper as if there's a problem, but there isn't. Dragishin goes for a long straight one down the line towards Porro, who'd made a run. And Gabriel does well. And then Raya kicks it first time, but it falls to Madders, who was tempted to have a dig there. But he doesn't. He goes to Johnson instead, who comes to Porro. And then Porro just slows it a little bit, unfortunately. Goes into Johnson's feet, who can turn into Kulusevski. Touch to Madders. Oh, he just tries to toe poke it. Riot plays it. Tell you what, Arsenal just so lucky with how regularly they get their centre-backs on the pitch, because without them, they'd be so shit. Trossard now has the ball on the left, plays a bit of a dodgy ball, but Rice protects it well as Madders tries to get to him. Comes back, of course, to Gabriel and Saliba. Solanke trying to press him. Too easy to get down the line ahead of Sonny. Arsenal in control of it in central midfield here. Odegaard to Partey. Partey out wide to Gabriel, who comes to Trossard. Back inside to Partey. Madders just pressing Partey, but he comes across. And Solanke presses Saliba, who goes down the line with a beautiful ball to Timber. And the ball is pressed all the way back to Raya. Kulusevski a bit late to go on the press on Lewis Skelly there. And Arsenal go down the line. Another great ball by the centre-back down the line. But Sonny works hard and Spurs win the ball back. It goes to Archie Gray, who goes back to Sonny. And he has a bit of space now, but goes backwards. Arsenal's so good at getting bodies back, unfortunately. Anyway, Spence now on the left-hand side. Comes narrow again. See, this is when Archie Gray has the ball, Spurs' midfield aren't really coming for him. Dragishin goes down the line, tries to find Johnson, but easily cut out. And now Arsenal have it in central midfield. So poor. Now it's Odegaard as ever, and he's got a man outside him, and Sonny is going with him, but it was a bit of a late run, but it comes across to Partey. And now it comes across to, I think, Timber. Yeah, comes to Odegaard inside. Bergvall presses him back to Saliba. 67 minutes gone. Still Arsenal 2, Tottenham Hotspur 1. Spurs have had more of the ball second half, 56% possession. But not really making any clear-cut chances. In fact, I'd argue no real, well, maybe a couple of clear-cut chances first half. And Arsenal just so easily in down the right-hand side there. But a bad touch from, I think, Timber maybe helps us anyway. But then an easy ball into Martinelli. He's got so much space driving at Tottenham. Oh, that is so easy. Oh, and terrible defending from Spurs. Tell you what, he should have shot Martinelli, but in the end he got to the byline and didn't shoot or cross, but it's a corner. But basically he picks the ball up about 30 yards out, 40 yards out, and then just drives and nobody tries to tackle him. Deary me. Odegaard with an in-swinging corner for set-piece FC. Here it comes. Towards the front, Bergvall clears it. Good clearance. And well done, Sonny, who dives on the floor when feeling a touch behind him. Guys, do press like on this video on YouTube if you haven't already. 4,000 of you watching at the moment. Thank you so much for your support. Do give the video a like. Make sure you subscribe to Chris Cowlin's channel at Chris Cowlin and my channel for daily transfer content at Barnaby Slater _. You can see it there in the bottom left. Spurs, as ever, just trying to keep the ball, but having to be pushed back. But this is good from Jed Spence, who drives forward into midfield. He was kicked there, but it wasn't given, and then plays a big diag. Not a bad idea, but too much on it and goes off. Brennan Johnson chasing it. It's a shame, but I like that from Jed Spence, driving to break the press with the ball. And that's something Tottenham could do more of, because realistically, when we try and pass out of the press, it's not getting us anywhere. Bergvall wins the header down the line. And he's given a foul throw there against Lewis Skelly, who has had a great game at left back for Arsenal. And they're waxing lyrical with him about him on the co-commentary here with Rio Ferdinand. He has played well, but he hasn't had much against him, to be fair. Porro with the throw. Madders give an option. There he goes. Madders does give an option, goes back to Porro, but then the first ball from Porro is a bit bizarre, but we do win the throw-in from it. Decky just looks shattered, to be honest. I wonder if Mikey Moore could be an option here to become a hero somehow. Comes to Decky's feet. He's being pushed around by Declan Rice. Decky does okay, and the ball comes back to Dragoshin. Plays it across to Archie Gray, who's got Jed Spence outside him. He passes it to him. Sonny is outside Spence. Madders or Bergvall need to get near him. Bergvall does, and his first touch takes him away from Ødegaard, which is good stuff. He then goes to Madders, who's got a bit more space. Looking for an option here. He might have to go short to Porro. He does. Porro goes to Kulusevski, who goes wide right just for a second. Plays a good ball back into Porro. Goes to Johnson, who cuts it back. Comes all the way across. Nobody there for Spurs, and Martinelli picks it up. But that was better. At least we got a cross in the box. And Arsenal forced to go long. But actually, bizarrely, Spurs let it bounce again. Dragoshin kind of dropped off, but Archie Gray helped him out. And the ball comes back to Porro. Needs an option here, Pedro, and he gets it from Brennan Johnson. And Johnson tries to find Kulusevski, but just so telegraphed by Lewis Skelly. Arsenal now breaking out through midfield pretty easily with Ødegaard. Oh, Spurs just unable to win it off Arsenal high up the pitch at this point. Spence puts the pressure on Timber. It goes to Saliba, who goes back to the keeper. He plays a ball into Partey's feet, and Partey deals with it really well. But Maddison gets a foot on it. Unfortunately, he slips at the same time, and therefore Partey's over. But Spurs have won it with Kulusevski now. He finds Solanke running at the 18-yard box. Chance for Dom. Great defending. That was the chance. And now Arsenal are on the break. And they're in down the left with Declan Rice. Big trouble for Spurs here. Running at Dragoshin. Cuts inside. And it hits goalkeeper more than anything else. Comes out. And now Arsenal in again on the right. Big pressure against Spurs here. Martinelli cuts it back for Ødegaard. Tries to bring it on his left foot. He still gets a chance on his left foot. The keeper saves it. Now Spurs have space going forward again. Madders trying to find Son. He does find Son. He's in a good position for him on the left. Madders goes outside him, looking for the shot from Son. Kulusevski could have maybe gone down on the edge of the box, but doesn't. Finds Son. He's got Decky outside him. Oh, just Arsenal get bodies back. Maddison makes a run into the box, but he's blocked off. Yeah, just for a second there, Arsenal allowed it to be like a bit of a basketball game, and Rio Ferdinand surprised about that. Arsenal about to make another change. Kieran Tierney is going to come on. Arsenal have the ball in central midfield, and they've got runners. But Archie Gray gets in the way well. 75 minutes gone now. Spurs still in this game at 2-1 down. They've had chances in this second half, but so have Arsenal, to say the least. Oh, good stuff. And Bergvall does well. Bergvall has had a great game. Ball comes to Kinski. Comes to Dragoshin again. Havertz pressing him, of course, so he has to go back to Kinski. Havertz coming across to press him onto his left foot. Oh, and he gives a horrible ball to Jed Spence, who deals with it quite well. But he's in big trouble here, Jed Spence. And he's beaten. He was pressed by about 4 players there. And Arsenal cut it back. Huge chance. Bergvall again. Blocks it again, Bergvall. Amazing. Oh, Arsenal are in down the right. Oh, and then a horrible pass, and Spurs managed to clear it. Only as far as Gabriel, though, who has a shot from about 50 yards and it goes over the bar. Rio Ferdinand's just described it as like an academy game where the players on the pitch, meaning Spurs' players, can't work anything out for themselves. I don't think we've been appalling today, certainly not in the second half, but they do just continue to play how they're asked to play. And anyway, we've won the ball actually in the halfway line here. Sonny being kicked. On Solanke's kind of in there and then fouled, and that should be at least a booking on Solanke, against Solanke, for whoever fouled Solanke. It has to be a booking because he was in. And Richarlison is about to come on. Spurs have started again with Bergwall in central midfield. He's got 3 in front of him all the time. Dragoshin has to go back to Archie Gray, who's being pressed by Martinelli. But Gray is brave and tries a dink ball over the top of Lewis Skelly, but can't get it over him. But we do win a throw-in at least. And Bergwall is everywhere at the moment. Defensively and attacking. And now Spurs are going to make... And it's Sonny coming off for Rishi. And you think Richarlison will put his body about at least. And I would fucking do anything for Richarlison to score here. Sonny got his goal. I'm pleased for him. Shame we couldn't have kept leading. But the referee had a shocker giving that corner. And then we allowed a second just before half time. But come on, Spurs. We're still in this going to the last 10 minutes. We've shown fucking guts. The amount of injuries we've got. We haven't been great by any means. And we've been a bit naive at times. But we've shown absolute guts. And that's a good ball into the channel. Solanke chases it and Gabriel hikes it out for a throw-in. If you haven't pressed like on this watch along yet, please do, guys. And I'll be doing an instant match reaction and a fan phone-in show after the game. Bergvall now in a good position on the right. Going into the box, but he turns away. Why did he turn away there, Bergvall? And then Porro just... Bergvall got himself into the box and then turned away to go back to Porro instead of getting a cross in. And Ange is shouting at him. Very weird. "79 minutes gone." Yeah. Ali McCoy's just saying he's seen Pedro Porro's delivery been excellent in the last few weeks. But there hasn't been any delivery from him today. Anyway, Richarlison, first touch. Oh, puts a beautiful ball into Jed Spence. There's no one in the box, though. I'll never get a penalty for that. Spence goes over, but he'll never get a penalty for that. Great ball from Rishi, though. Lewis Skelly down in the box. Probably a bit of cramp, I would have thought. That was a beautiful ball from Richarlison, though, just inside the defender. Great run from Spence. It's a shame he couldn't put anything on it. If he could have maybe crossed it first time, Brennan Johnson was making a massive run across the box, as he does. Lewis Skelly definitely has cramp, so let's get someone running at him. Looks like he's running it off. Into the 80th minute now. Raya kicking it long. Arsenal doing Arsenal things. Archie Gray gets it back to Kinski, who's being pressed hard from Ødegaard, so Kinski has to go long. And does. And actually, good stuff from Johnson. Kulusevski's trying to do paradise things again. Just do it easy, Decky. Bergvall calms it down, gives it to Porro, and then gets it back. Goes back to Porro, but you can't lose it here, Porro, but he doesn't. He gives it back to Bergvall, who finds it into Kulusevski. He's going to get out-muscled again here. Fuck off, Gabriel. It's giving it that to the fans again. Do it yourself, mate, with your play. I really fucking hope this comes up against them. It's so boring to watch. Defensive FC. Come on, we need something to fall for Decky to make up for what I think has not been his greatest performance tonight. Get him a chance. Get him a chance where he can be ice cold. Come on. It's been much better second half here. We could shut these fuckers up. Come on, just make yourself a fucking golden chance and get it to someone who can be ice cold and clinical. Well done, Rishi. Good touch. Jed Spence turns away, wins a foul in central midfield. Spurs walking away from this free kick. Come on, we've got to score here. We've got to be quick. Spence goes backwards to Archie Gray, so it's going to go to Kinski, but no, it goes to Porro. His first touch wasn't great, but actually helped him get away from Declan Rice somehow. But then he has to cut in outside again, but plays the ball to Brennan Johnson. First touch is okay. Goes back to Bergvall. Heavy touch from Bergvall, but he goes around Havertz well. But he's on his own on the right. Has to turn away again. Goes inside to Porro. Goes straight back to him when he didn't need to, but Bergvall gets it back to Porro, and he's got a bit of space here. Porro tries the ball, but it's cleared. Of course, it's cleared by Arsenal in the air, by Partey this time. How that player is playing on a Premier League pitch is beyond me. Everybody knows that Partey is under investigation. Ridiculous. Porro with the throw into Madders. We need him to get more into the game, Madders. It's a good ball, actually. Madders has a chance at the byline to get a cross in here, and he does. Goes over right. Oh, Raya does brilliantly one-handed there. I thought the cross was over Raya, but he did well. It's a free kick to Arsenal because Richarlison ran into Raya, and Raya kicks it long, of course. Kicks it straight over Spence's head. And Gray does well. And Spence gets the ball now, but accidentally treads on it, unfortunately. And now drives forward. Good lad, Jed Spence. Keep going. And then he's beaten. Then he's out of position now. Problems. They've got Kieran Tierney here on the left in acres of space, and Declan Rice making a run outside him. Oh, and they're free at the back post. Oh, and he's hit it wide. Ødegaard, huge chance. Spurs have taken it already. Comes into Johnson's feet. He's got no options. He plays it beautifully to Pedro Porro. He's going to have to work across the pitch. Still showing his legs here, Pedro Porro. And plays a beautiful ball out to Richarlison. Spurs only have 3 up here, but it's Richarlison with Kulusevski running outside him. Lots of Arsenal players getting back. Plays a near post flick. Oh, and it's great defending. Great defending from Gabriel at Solanke's feet. Well done, Richarlison. He's been good since he's come on. Corner to Spurs against Set Piece FC. Come on, let's try and do something. Oh, and then Bergvall's gone down, embarrassingly. He was battling with Lewis Skelly. And there's a little bit of a kerfuffle here, and Richarlison pushing people out the way. Oh, and Lewis Skelly does kick him. Lewis Skelly kicks him there. Nothing will be given for it, obviously. Arsenal bringing on Zinchenko and Marino in a minute. Rio Ferdinand saying a bit of anxiety coming into the stadium. Bergvall and Lewis Skelly having a scrap. It's pretty amazing how you can kick a player and nothing happen. Oh, and Richarlison getting involved, of course. Lewis Skelly has now been booked because he's a prick. Oh, and he gives it one of those too. They're such embarrassment FC, Arsenal. They're so embarrassing. He had a good game, Lewis Skelly, but he's just embarrassing like the rest. Oh, he's giving it all that to the fans. No, mate. Do it yourselves. You're so boring. The fans are fucking bored because you just play it long every time. Set piece FC. Rice has gone off as well. Come on, Spurs. Just fucking stick it up them here. Come on. Let's have a good delivery from Madders. Here it comes. In swing. It looks all right. Easily cleared at the near post. Porro gets the first ball on it, but now it falls straight to Saliba. And they've got 3 against 2 here, and it comes to Martinelli on the left. Porro's working hard to work back. Martinelli running at Porro. Gets it outside him to Zinchenko, who's just come on. It's cleared by Bergvall, of course. Oh, and then Zinchenko giving it that as well. It's so embarrassing. Make your own crowd like you. Don't call for it. It's so embarrassing. Deary me. No. Into the 87th minute, Zinchenko with the throw-in. Arsenal, just embarrassing. It's so hilarious how they're not going to win anything. Anyway, come on, Spurs. Find a way to make a chance here. It's Arsenal. Play it amongst the back forward to Saliba. Kicks it long, comes all the way to Kinski. Now, can he get a flat ball? No, he was tempted to, but he just rolls it out to Archie Gray instead. He goes to Jed Spence. Into Richarlison, who's fouled from behind. And then the player gets in the way. Rishi takes the free kick. He's looked good since he came on, Rishi. Gives it to Bergvall, who's been the best player on the park for Spurs, I think. Plays another nice ball into Rishi. Loses it back to goal, though, unfortunately. And then Arsenal break through him too easily. Bergvall is beaten by Timber, and it comes out wide right. Ødegaard, who's tempted already to run it into the corner, you can tell, but surely too long on the clock for that with 88 minutes and whatever's added. And now Ødegaard running into the box, and he gets to the byline, Ødegaard, but it goes out for a goal kick. Now, come on, Spurs, put something together here. Put something together. Kinski's giving it to Gray. Gives it out wide to Spence. Goes down the line. Richarlison is beaten to the ball, unfortunately. But wins it back. Well done, Rishi. Goes into Solanke, who holds it up. Good stuff from Dominic. Brandon Johnson has it on the right. I can't tell if he said it was going to be 4 or 5 additional minutes, but it's one of the two. Spurs have the ball with Archie Gray into Madders. Gets it back from Gray. And then it comes to Jed Spence. Madders is inside him, but he's looking for something else, but he goes to Madders. Bit too close to him. Needs options here. Jed Spence does run outside him. That's good. And gets it out to Richarlison, who... It's a good ball across the box, but that's easily defended by Arsenal. Comes all the way to Raya. And Saliba and Gabriel with the little high fives to each other. Deary me. Just pathetic. Absolutely pathetic, FC. Okay, we're into added time now. 5 minutes added. Come on, Spurs. Find a way. But we've let it bounce in our back four again. Get up. That's a Tottenham throw. Archie Gray should go back to the keeper here, but it doesn't. Jed Spence takes it. And we've got to find a way to get some ball time here because there's only 4.5 minutes left. Tottenham go down the line. Matters to Spence and kicked it off the pitch, unfortunately. And again, Ødegaard giving it all this to the crowd. It's so embarrassing. Jesus, you are in charge of the crowd just because the crowd hate you. They hate Arsenal at the moment because they're so boring to watch. So boring and direct. Deary me. And Arsenal just running it into the corner now. But still 4 minutes left and Madders wins it. And gets it nicely into Bergvall. There's a foul off the ball in central midfield by Marino, who's booked on Solanke. But why can it... Ref. Spurs take the free kick. Bergvall on the ball. He needs options here, and he hasn't got anyone. Nobody moving for him, so he has to go backwards to Archie Gray. Spence now gets it to Madders. Tries an outside of the boot ball to Richarlison, who holds it up nicely against Saliba. Turns it around the corner to Jed Spence, who does brilliantly. Running into the box now, Spence. Holds it up well. Can he find someone? Needs an option back. Who is it? Rishi. Tries a different crossfield ball to Porro, who has got space here. He's in the box on the right-hand side. Needs some help here. Decky goes outside him. Tries the cross to the back post. Solanke with an overhead kick goes wide. It was always going away from him from Porro's cross. It was behind him. There wasn't a lot gut riding. Wasn't a lot of chance on that, but he tried. Ange looking frustrated on the touchline, but Spurs, with so many injuries, have put in a good effort today. They've put in a good effort. Arsenal fans loving this, as you'd expect, but in reality, they're just such a bore, honestly, bore-off FC. They really are. Yeah, Ali McCoy's talking about how Spurs will have taken only 5 points from 27, but obviously don't talk about the injuries, mate. Kinski gets it out to Spence. We're into the last 2 minutes of the game now, and Tottenham need to get the ball forward, but they're not. They're pussying around with it. But Gray finds Bergvall, who has at least come deep for him. And he plays it out wide right to Kulusevski, who goes down the line to Pedro Porro. But again, just being pressed so hard by Arsenal, as we have been all game. And you've got to give them credit for that. Defensive FC do know how to press, that's for sure. Spence now has to turn away. Dragoshin now standing up front with Solanke, suggesting that they go long, but Kinski doesn't. He goes wide right to Kulusevski, has to come narrow. And he does try and play a long ball up towards Dragoshin, who flicks it on nicely. And Madders in good position here. Madders trying to open it up, trying to find a space. Gets it across to Deki Kulusevski, who gets it to Porro, but there's a bit too much on it. Tries to get across in at the near post. He hits the post, Porro. Tell you what, Porro went for it, and it hits the outside of the post. Worth a squirt. That would have been hilarious if that gone in the near post. And that will probably be it for Spurs. "15 seconds left. Raya goes long, of course. Spence challenges. Arsenal win the second ball. Comes to Porro. It goes back to Kinski, and Kinski's going to have to go long here. And he does. Very long and flat. Johnson tries to win the first one. Dragoshin does well to win the second one. Kulusevski now running down the right. Gets back towards his left foot. He wants it on his left, but he goes to the right instead. Now pulls it on his left and a chance to get it in the box. Comes to Bergvall, and maybe we should have just got that in the box. Porro with a chance for a cross. It is a good cross, but it's obviously cleared by Gabriel. Comes to Archie Gray, who brings it to the left. Gets the ball out wide to Richarlison, whose first touch is not good. He has to bring it onto his right and get a cross in. He tries it. Comes to Solanke, comes to Kulusevski, tries to take a touch on it. Tries to play a through ball. And that's the end of the game. And Arteta gives it the big one. But I wouldn't be that proud of it if I were him. I really wouldn't. This is my post-match reaction to the Arsenal 2, Tottenham Hotspur 1 Premier League defeat for Spurs. Probably not a surprise that Tottenham have lost this one, but very frustrating. Mainly because we got 1-0 ahead and weren't able to keep hold of it. for a few reasons. The referee getting involved, giving a corner when it shouldn't have been, but also just some naiveness from Spurs, which, of course, you would expect considering how many injuries Tottenham have. But also frustrating because I'll be honest with you, watching Arsenal play is just a frustrating, boring watch. I'm not going to deny it. They were better than Tottenham tonight. Of course they were. They had many more first-team players. They're further down with their project. They've got more rhythm in the team. But they're so boring and direct. And all of their players throughout just going to the crowd, come on, crowd. It's like, no, why don't you excite your crowd in a way where they will give you some organic atmosphere, some authentic atmosphere? It's just embarrassing. I find it embarrassing. I know it's easy for me to say. I'm not complaining about the defeat. I think certainly in terms of the first half, Arsenal deserved to win that game. In the second half, Spurs massively came into it, made some half chances. Arsenal also had some massive chances. And look, I can see their fans now. They're all dancing around. Gabriel's dancing around. But it's like, mate, you ain't winning nothing. You think you're the big ones. Arteta thinks they're the big ones. They thought if they could beat Man City, they'd win the league. They're not winning anything. They are dire. And it's got to that point with Arsenal where I think it's almost like Conte and Jose ball. It's like the moment they stop winning, or if they continue having a bit of a dodgy run like they have done recently, their fans, you can see why their fans have started to turn, because I was calling them set piece FC throughout the game. They really are just literally set piece FC. Raya just hikes it long. They try and get it into the corners and try and win corners, and of course another goal scored from a corner today. But listen, I'll try not to talk about Arsenal anymore because this is obviously about Tottenham Hotspur. We just looked today like a team lacking rhythm, who were fatigued, especially in the first half. Props to Ange Postecoglou. At halftime, he brought on two players, made two changes. Maddison and Johnson came on for Bissouma and one other, and that changed the game for Spurs. We were able to put our foot on the ball a bit more, keep the ball in midfield a lot more, and really offer some threat to Arsenal there. And they were worried. And to be honest, with 11 men out, or 10 or 11 first-team squad members out, it was a decent performance. And listen, the way that Arsenal are dancing, like, all right, enjoy it. You're in second place, but you are honestly so poor. So poor. And Liverpool are so much better than them. And considering we played Liverpool last week, it was a joy to watch Liverpool. But compared to this lot, honestly. Anyway, I'll take you through kind of what happened in the match. I thought, I'll talk more about him as this post-match reaction goes along. But Lucas Bergvall, absolutely outstanding from the first minute. He made an interception in the first minute. And I said, great start for Bergvall. He's so good at reading the game, so good at intercepting passes. But then Arsenal really put the pressure on us in the first 15 minutes. Huge chance for Raheem Sterling in the second minute. He was in. Kinski dived at his feet, which really put him off. And the defenders managed to get to the second ball. Fifth minute, I've made a note, Arsenal pressing Spurs high up the pitch and into mistakes, and especially in that first half, but pretty much throughout the game, Tottenham really struggled to get out of their half. Arsenal's pressing is elite. They're smart with it. They know exactly where to put the pressure on. And when we've got, I'm not slagging off Dragusin. I think he had a decent game, but when you've got Dragusin in your back four and he hasn't got ball players around him, or certainly confident centre-back ball players around him, like Christian Romero, then he's going to struggle, and he did struggle. 6th minute, Son was fouled twice in that first 6 minutes with his back to goal, neither of which were given by the referee, who certainly in that first half was just giving all the decisions to Arsenal. 7th minute, I've written that Spurs were defending pretty much okay, but gave away a few naive free kicks in that first 10 minutes. Spence and Bergvall just kind of getting a little bit too excitable, but both had really good games, I think. 12th minute, huge chance for Arsenal, blocked in the box by Dragusin. Such a good box defender for the kind of the discredit I give him for his ball at his feet play. I will say, as a box defender, he's so good, clearing headers and getting blocks on the ball. Really excellent. 15th minute, where the ref was on our side a bit, to be fair. Bergvall should have been booked for a late challenge, but he wasn't. I felt like that was probably because it was too early in the game. If it was later in the game, I think Bergvall would have been booked for that. And then 16th minute, I've made a note. Kinski came for free kicks. He came for free kicks and corners all first half. He was really excellent at that. But he did make a mistake 17th minute, similar to that mistake Alisson made against Spurs a week or so ago, when he just took too much time on the ball on his left foot. He was pressed by Havertz, but he did well to get up and save the second ball. And then in the 18th minute, again, punching a corner away again, Kinski was impressed with him. I'll get on to what could be deemed to be a mistake from him later on in this half, though. Some brilliant play from Spence down the left in the 21st minute, drove down the left-hand side, and then an outside of the boot cross that was so brilliant, like properly elite. And Solanke was going to tap it in, but Gabriel, who was man of the match, got his foot there. Great defending. 23rd minute, Arsenal had a chance at the back post for Trossard. But then Kinski had it in his arms. A quick break for Pape Matar Sarr, who gave it to Decky Kulusevski, who gave it back to Sarr, got to the byline, the cross was blocked, and then it was that corner that led to Sonny's goal. They took it short and then got it in the box, cleared out by Arsenal, and then Sonny did really well on the edge of the box to keep his shot down, side-footed it, deflected in off Saliba. 26th minute, Pape Matar Sarr was booked for delaying the restart, a bit naive, but he was complaining about a foul given against Archie Gray when Havertz was clearly backing into Gray. Poor refereeing again. 29th minute, Porro easily turned by Trossard, far too easy. Looked like Porro might have got a bit injured there, but he played on. Dragusin again cleared away the cross from Trossard. Kulusevski did not have his greatest game today. And in the 32nd minute, there were two mistakes from him within about 15 seconds that really showed it. He didn't hold the ball up on the halfway line. It actually wasn't halfway line. It was in Arsenal's half when Dragusin had driven with the ball really well, given it to Kulusevski. And the only thing that Kulusevski couldn't do in that situation was lose the ball because Dragusin had ran outside him, but he did lose the ball. And then to give credit to Kulusevski, he did try and chase it back, but he tried too hard and he gave away a stupid foul just outside the box. But brilliant. Kinski came and punched the corner away or the free kick away. 36th minute, brilliant strength from Spence, who had Sterling in his pocket throughout the game, and Sterling was subbed pretty early as a result. 38th minute, a studs-up tackle came in on Pape Matar Sarr, wasn't even given as a foul. Really bad reffing as far as I'm concerned, really bad. And 1 minute later, Gabriel got the goal. It wasn't a corner. Porro cleared the ball off Trossard, should have been a Spurs goal kick. Of course, it's a corner, set piece FC. Bender, a deep one over the top of Kinski, who's blocked off by his own man, Pape Sarr. And Gabriel heads it in, gets man of the match. But his defensive display was brilliant, but he got the goal as well. But terrible refereeing. And on such things, games turn. And that's exactly what happened. Havertz got booked in the 42nd minute for a foul on Dragusin. And then the second goal, Trossard himself, 43rd minute. All started because Bergvall made a run that was... He's had his shirt pulled back, didn't get seen by the ref. Then Bissouma, unfortunately, had his worst moment, and probably why he was taken off at half-time, actually. Lost the ball in midfield when he was surrounded by about 3 Arsenal players. They broke forward. Trossard got the ball on the left-hand side, hits it well, finishes it into the far corner, and it took a bit of a bobble over Kinski's hand, and some of the co-commentators suggesting that maybe Kinski should have saved it. Perhaps he could have gone with 2 hands, but maybe if he'd gone with 2 hands, he wouldn't have got there anyway. So he went with 1 hand, and it just took a bobble over his hand. I'm not blaming him for that, but, you know, let us know in the comments what you think. Then there were 4 minutes of added time, during which Spence had a brilliant tackle and was away on the transition, and the ref gave it as a foul. He got the ball and he gave it as a foul. Totally ridiculous. Then at halftime, as I mentioned, Johnson and Maddison came on for Sarr and Bissouma, and it really did help us in that second half. Porro had a shot blocked. Porro did block a shot in the 46th minute after Spurs were caught ahead of the ball. 49th minute, Spurs looking better already on the ball. Sonny had a shot with his left foot that hit his own man, Solanke, stopped it from... it probably wasn't going in anyway. Raya would have made the save. Good football from Spurs in the 50th minute. Got Madders to the byline. The cross went into Raya's arms. Then very quickly after, we got another winning of the ball up high. But again, a cross went into Raya's arms. 51st minute, embarrassing from Kai Havertz, going down when barely touched from Archie Gray. Arsenal, just the absolute kings of the dark arts and professional fouls. Really embarrassing. Then 52nd minute, Havertz had a chance at the near post, should have scored with his head from a corner, headed it wide. 55th minute, another free header for Havertz, straight at Kinski this time. 56th minute, Bergvall with some brilliant defensive play to stop a goal as we lost the ball in our third again too easily, but he chased back to get his body in the way. Then 57th minute, shot from Johnson block. Spurs definitely better on the ball, but also I've written losing the ball in their own third too easily. 59th minute, Trossard dived on the floor after Spurs let the ball bounce from high in their own box. There were too many occasions that really showed me how Tottenham are just really missing their centre-halves, where we don't know when to come for the ball in that centre-back department. And you can't really blame Archie Gray for it because he's not a centre-back, but we're just letting the ball bounce too many times. 60th minute, Sterling came off for Martinelli. I've written here Decky Kulusevski being out-muscled too often. He looked tired today, Kulusevski, I thought. 61st minute, some brilliant play from Kinski under pressure, just back-heeled it to Jed Spence on the left. Fantastic stuff. Madders' chance of a shot in the box in the 65th minute. but he had to kind of toe poke it in the end as the ball got caught under his feet. Disappointing. But Spurs getting into the box far more regularly in that second half. Then in the 72nd minute, a big chance for Spurs, followed by 2 huge chances for Arsenal. Solanke had a shot blocked in the box, but then Arsenal came straight back at us, had a shot that was hit well, kind of saved with his body by Kinski, just kind of stood up and shouldered it away, and then another decent save down to his right from a shot straight after from Kinski. 74th minute, I made another note. Bergvall, best player on the park for Spurs, reading the game so well. What a young player we have on our hands. Ødegaard had a good game for Arsenal, but Bergvall reminds me of a young Ødegaard. And when he gets more up the hierarchy in the Spurs squad and is trusted more by the players, he will become more creative attacking-wise. But he really showed his defensive side today as well. 75th minute, 2 huge blocks from Bergvall, again after Spence lost the ball in his own third. But he was given a horrible pass with four Arsenal players around him, Jed Spence. 76th minute, Cherney on for Trossard, a defensive move for Arsenal. Son off for Richarlison in the 77th minute. 78th minute, Bergvall was in a good position in the box, but for some reason turned away and gave it back to Porro, who made a bad pass off the pitch. Don't know why he turned away there, Bergvall. Just a kind of little example, I guess, of how him not trusting his creativity enough, but he was brilliant, like I said, back and forth today. 79th minute, great ball from Rishi. Spence got in down the left, and Rishi played the ball into him. But it was good defending, out for a throw from Arsenal. Arsenal did defend well all day, to be fair to them. 83rd minute, cross from Madders over Raya, but he did well to claim it one-handed. Huge chance for Ødegaard, 84th minute, put it wide. Rishi then got forward, and a great cross blocked by Gabriel just before Solanke got there, making a run across the near post. It was like that kind of for Spurs all game, these little kind of quarter, half chances, but Gabriel and Saliba, frankly, 2 of the best defenders in the league and a great partnership, just too much for our kind of makeshift forward line. 85th minute, Lewis Skelly kicked Bergvall when a corner was about to be taken, but of course the referee gave nothing. Some subs for Arsenal, 86th minute, and then just in the 5th minute of added time, Solanke with an overhead kick went wide, and Porro just kind of with the last kick of the game got in a position out wide where he should be crossing it across the box, but he thought, fuck it, hit the ball into the near post, and Raya would have been struggling to hit the outside of the post. That would have been a moment in time for Spurs. In terms of like player ratings, I'll say Kinski probably 6.5, 7. You know, some argument that maybe he shouldn't have allowed himself to be blocked off for the corner, but it wasn't his fault. Sarr was in the way, and could he have got something on the goal from Trossard? But I think not. It bobbled over his hand. But all of his bravery on the ball and distribution and everything, I was very impressed with. I like him, so I'm going to go 7 out of 10. Porro, I'll give a kind of 6. I thought he was okay. Obviously knackered. Archie Gray, I'll give a 6.5. Dragoshin, I'll give a 6.5. Jed Spence, I'm going to give a 7.5. I thought he was excellent all game, out of position, really excellent. Bissouma, I'm going to have to give a 5 because of his mistake leading to the goal. Who else have we got in midfield? Pape Matar Sarr got taken off at halftime. I'll give him a 5 as well. And then Lucas Bergvall, I'm going to give man of the match. I'm going to give an 8. And then Sonny on the left got a goal, so I'll give him a 7. Solanke, no chances given to him really at all, but he worked hard, so I'll give him a 6.5. And like I said, Kulusevski, one of his poorer games, so I'm going to have to give him a 5.5 out of 10. I won't give the subs really things. Well, actually, let's say Madders, I think maybe a 6.5 for Madders. And Richarlison, I thought looked decent when he came on. I'll give him a 6.5. Johnson, probably a 6. Anyway, guys, that has been the post-match reaction show. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you do give the video a like and do press subscribe. Really appreciate you watching this. Cheers. Hi guys, welcome to the fan show. Really appreciate you coming. Please do give this video a like and press subscribe on Chris's channel. Really appreciate you joining us. Obviously, Tottenham lost at the Emirates 2-1. I'll be talking to a number of Spurs fans from around the world and discussing that game on this show. Just shortly for any of you who didn't see the post-match reaction. Spurs worked hard. They tried hard. They weren't as good as Arsenal tonight. Arsenal, a very frustrating team to watch, to say the least. But what can you do? They're further down the line. They've got less players injured. And it was just very frustrating to watch. But Spurs had their chances. They could have been beaten far more as well. But in the end, you'd have to say Arsenal probably deserved to win. And you can see why they won. They're just a lot further down the line than Tottenham Hotspur are. But I just got so frustrated watching Arsenal play. They're so boring, and their players all the time just going to the fans, come on, come on. It's just something that's come into modern football, and just like, no, play football that will excite your fans organically and authentically. I just think really embarrassing, that stuff, and I've got a real bee in my bonnet about it. But I can see on TNT Sports now they're looking at Spurs' results and how they've had only one win in their last 9 games and only 2 draws as well. But the injuries have everything to do with that. I'm not going to talk about Ange out or anything like that at the moment. I think it's completely ridiculous, and you can see enough now that we're starting to get players back that Tottenham are going to be okay, and it's all about the cups this season anyway. Anyway, like I said, this is the fan show. So I'm going to be talking to fans. So let's see who we have. First of all, I'm going to go to one of our regulars, and it is Melvin from Malta. Melvin, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Melvin. Thanks so much for calling in. What did you think of today's game overall, mate?
I don't know. It's I usually have a bit more time to digest these things, especially the North London derby. Not easy to take, not happy. I expected a bit more from Spurs. I think Postecoglou might have gotten the setup of the team wrong. I think we should have attacked them more in the first half. I know we had the lead. We were a bit unlucky to go, to lose the lead before half time, and especially even going 2-0 down. I think them getting the corner, which led to the goal, was lucky for them, but you need a bit of luck in football. I mean, our goal was deflected, and so you could say, you need a bit of luck. We were a bit lucky with our goal because we didn't do much. Was it a fair result, 2-1? I don't think we did enough to deserve the win. Maybe a draw I would have been happy with. The performances, I thought most of the players were, okay. Some of them were poor, but like you said, I was listening to you before. Bergvall was really, really good. Archie Gray was very good. Spence, I was really impressed with. I thought Spence was the only player that was gonna do something for us, pull a goal out of nowhere or an assist. I really didn't think we had created anything else. I thought Kulusevski has been overused this season. I think dropping him in midfield in the second half was a mistake. I think we're too open, and the midfield was way too open in the second half.
Sorry, Melvin. Don't you think though, without that change at half time, we wouldn't have had any chances in the second half? We created maybe 2 chances within 1 minute in the first half. But in the second half, at least we got our foot on the ball in midfield, didn't we?
I think sometimes the England team struggles with this problem. They try to fit in the players, like all the stars, the England stars, but they don't match the position very well. I think Kulusevski needs to decide, is he a winger, is he a midfielder, and Postecoglou needs to figure that out as well. In certain games, it suits Kulusevski because he can create against a low block or something like that. But sometimes he misses the pace. We miss the pace. I think Johnson should have started, perhaps. I know it's easy to say it now after we've seen the game, but I agreed with the starting lineup when it came out. But then when the game goes by, you think maybe you could have done things differently. But it's frustrating because I'm proud of certain players. I'm happy with Bergvall's progression and Archie Gray's progression. And the keeper, gave me a couple of heart attacks during the game, and my dad was saying he needs to kick it quicker. But he was okay. Could he have done better for the goal? Perhaps. I think with Arsenal, the most frustrating thing is we make it easy for them at times. Their goals sometimes we just gift it to them, and it just feels we have to work really, really hard for us to get one goal against them. Yeah. And like you said, they're 5 years into their project. They've gotten rid of their deadwood. They've invested heavily into their team, and they're in a position to buy the £100 million player, and we're unfortunately 3 years behind in our project. So
at least,
yeah. So it's frustrating. It's one of those games where I still believe in the manager. I still believe in what we're doing, we went there today to fight, and there was fight in the team. I think Richarlison coming in the second half, he tried to get things going, but it wasn't enough. You know, we could have gotten a point today with Pedro Porro's attempt in the last second of the game. You know, with a bit of luck, Barnaby, and all of a sudden the narrative changes, and you think we went there and we got a point. But sometimes football goes your way, and sometimes it doesn't. And today I don't think we deserved the victory or a point at times, but it's a bit harsh today.
Yeah, listen, I really appreciate how kind of you find some positivity even whilst talking about how difficult it was. I've got loads of people to talk to today, so thank you so much for being a part of the show. And of course, I'll speak to you again after what will be a very difficult, I think, Everton game at the weekend when we're going to be up against another David Moyes deep block.
Yeah, all the best. Nice talking to you again. I know I didn't want to talk too much about the game because I usually have a couple of hours to, especially after a North London derby. I'm quiet and alone, and I like to digest this game. But I didn't want to get angry and shouty, and because I am angry, to be honest. I am disappointed, but you have to sometimes accept that this is our level at the moment, and we just need to get these through these difficult times.
Completely agree. Thanks again, Melvin. See you later.
See you, all the best.
Bye-bye. Yeah, completely agree with what Melvin is saying. TSOM says a few of our players just aren't good enough. The window is open. We must invest. Actually, I was going to say this at the end of Melvin's chat there. I actually completely agree with that. And I hope that Daniel Levy is watching that Scott Munn and Johan Lange are watching that and realizing how we need more options going forward and different flavor of options as well. Options who can do something a bit different, accelerator players who can beat a man from a standing start. The kind of player we had with Wilson Odobert before, unfortunately, he got injured. But next up is G from Brazil. Lovely Brazil. G, how are you, mate? And what are your thoughts on that performance today and result?
Hi, Barnaby. Thanks for the show. Yeah, gutted, of course. It's difficult because it's an emotional thing, you know, like if you feel deflated, you know, because it's them. Yeah. It's them. That's all it is, you know, like what else can you say? You know, that's the worst thing. Them and Chelsea for me. But if I try and like take that apart at this early stage, you know, and just talk about how the actual game was, trying to forget that kind of side of it, which is impossible. Yeah, Arsenal were always going to win this, you know what I mean? Like you say, they're further up. Us getting that goal, first goal was quite amazing, actually. I couldn't contain myself, man. I was all over the place here. It was absolutely brilliant. The thing was, until they got their second goal, we'd had 2 shots each. So that was pretty cool when you think about what we've got. And I think that's what it's all about. We've still got the same amount of players, the same fatigue, the same everything else. It's never going to change, you know, until we stop playing these three days apart or whatever it is, which isn't going to happen until the middle of February. And against the Gooners, what can you do? You know, I mean, like, they've got such a defence. They make it look really like it's so simple to press. Yeah. It's like second nature to them, and it's like a thing they can do with a breeze. You know, it's what we want. That's what we want. Yeah. Everyone can say things about hindsight, you know, about how what should have been and whatever. But I think he wasn't. I think he was posed with the players he had. He had to play the way, and we brought on the other players. You know, the players for the second half. It was a marked improvement because we had more going forward. You know, as for the goals, I don't want to pick apart too many players and that. But Biss has done it again. He's the only one I've ever. I'm not slating the guy. I think he's a great talent, but he does this, you know, and he's always got that in him to do that. And the same happened again when I said before, like before this show, Dragerson, I think he's great, remarkable to step in and do the job he's doing. Yeah, Ragu, but he's not helping. He's not running. He can't. He hasn't got that pace on him. You know, Johnson wasn't in that first half, and I guarantee you, any money you like, everyone went, where was Johnson? Where was Johnson? But where was Porro and where was Ragu? That's what I want to know. The same thing on the other side of the pitch. You've got Spence, who was like, for me, I mean, I think you gave him 2 marks too low. That guy was immense. I've got to give him an 8 or a 9, easy. The spurt of pace that he put on. Yeah. even towards the end of the game, was unbelievable. You know, he's fast become my favourite player beyond. You know, absolutely brilliant what he's put in. And I think it doesn't take a rocket science to work out what players at the moment do we have there that are really showing their commitment, and that they have pace on them, or not even pace, that they're up for the game every time. And it's all the players there that haven't played a whole season yet. You know what I mean? Players that are out of position. Spence is one. Well, Bergvall, you know what I mean? It's absolutely brilliant. And back in the centre of defence, the same thing, you know. Whereas the rest, Kulu, if Kulu's not having a good game, you can't expect anyone around you to have a great game either. You know, if he is spent of energy, which he is, then you can't expect those others around him to be lapping up. I've got to say, there were times in front of goal where we just were static. I thought that the picture had frozen, actually,
no.
You know, those times, because there was nobody able to run. I think they wanted to. I just don't think they were able to. I really don't, you know. We're up against a hard and fast Gooner side that has invested over the years. They've got a fantastic back four. I hate them to bet. I hate them. Actually, I hate them. But they are good, you know, like, you know, but
can I just interrupt you quickly? Sorry, mate. Can I just interrupt you quickly? Just because I want to bring up this comment here. The comment says this: the issue arises because Ange's one-trick tactics. It's awful to watch when it doesn't work out. Can I just say something? Because there have been a few comments in here about Ange being a one-trick pony and saying that it's because of his tactics again. I'm sorry, but we played an absolutely defensive style of play today. We played backs to the wall. We played to hit them on the transition. We had a bit more of the ball in the second half. Sure, he brought on more attacking players, but it enabled us to keep the ball more in central midfield. And if you are one of the people in the comments saying that it's down to Ange just being an attacking manager and whatever, you're not watching the same game. You're literally not watching the same game. I'm sorry, I just had to mention that, G. I mean, I don't know if you agree.
No, I absolutely agree. The Tottenham Goths are going to come out in force. They're going to be like the Gooners. They're our nemesis right now. You know, they're going to be on it. That's why it's best just to not take a look at those, because I'm sure a lot of those actually are Gooners, you know, or they just haven't got a clue. You know, if you want a plan B, and if you want to do all this other stuff, then just take a look at the first half. That's what happened. We lost 2-1. That's the way it went. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And we didn't have it. We hardly had a shot. We was lucky, you know. We actually got a deflection as well. It was a great goal by Sonny. He took it down really well. Yeah. You know, he hit that on the volley. It's not an easy thing to do. But and realistically, they scored an own goal, and I'd say we just weren't good enough on that side of the pitch. I'm surprised they attacked us all that time down the right side against Spence, and he was quite capable. He was turning them left, right, and centre. I'd love to have seen him and Saka today, so I think he would have dealt in one. You know, I'm surprised they didn't always attack down the other side. You know, attack Porro and Dragoo,
especially once they got their goal on that side as well. Yeah,
we looked weak there, and I'm not having a go at Dragoo. I think he's great. I think he's great for what he's done in that, but he's not a fast player, and we need someone else in there. You know, and who else was supposed to track back? I think it was Kulu, no? Yeah, I never saw all this. Where's Kulu? And Angel, same old. I know. You know, those guys are just going to pop up every time we have a bad game. Them and Gooners are the people we don't want around us. They're not fans. I'm sorry, but they can't be.
Listen, G, big picture, mate. I completely agree. And listen, thanks so much for coming on the show. And hopefully at the weekend when we play Everton away, it's going to be very difficult. We can have something to cheer about in the Premier League for the first time in a long while.
Well, we got an extra day this time.
Yeah, but not extra than Everton.
I know that, but you know they're just gonna defend. It's gonna be hard for our guys to break.
But hopefully we can break them. I'm kind of pleased that Everton lost tonight, because that won't at least the momentum hasn't started. Okay, G, thanks so much for calling in, mate. Really appreciate it.
Take care, bro. Nice.
And you, bye. Just before I go to the next caller, a super chat came in from Carity saying, how can you still back this manager? Look, I really appreciate your super chat coming in, mate. Really appreciate it. But for me, the truth of it is there's nobody else at the moment. There's nobody else that we could get in at this stage, even if we did want to sack Ange Postecoglou, that would take the job. I don't think we could get Frank out of Brentford or Iraola out of Bournemouth, and they're the two on the list as far as I'm concerned. So I cannot see that happening, and I think we stick with Ange. I think the problem Ange has or may have is he's got Liverpool away in the second leg of the Carabao, and then 3 or 4 days later, Aston Villa away in the FA Cup. And if he loses those games, and we're still down in 13th and 14th, in fact, maybe wherever we are at that point, I think that will be a struggle for him to keep his job at that point. But let's see what happens. Okay, next up is John from the UK. I don't know where, but John, tell me how you feel after that game.
I didn't expect us to get anything from that, to be honest with you. And I was a bit surprised when we went a goal up, but fair play. We did weather the storm. First 15 minutes, we held in there, hung in there, blocks, looked quite committed, to be fair. Scored a good goal. And then, of course, what happens, it's a goal kick, and they score from the corner that's given. But us being us, rather than using that as something to fuel the fire and go at it and put some big tackles in and really grab the game, because I felt as though we were on top in midfield at times. We didn't. We allowed them to get back in, and we gave them a very soft second goal again.
Yeah, John, I just sorry to interrupt there, mate, because I just want to bring up something that I meant to say with the last caller. I feel like, again, that goal, the second one, is where, because I agree with you, the first one obviously wasn't a corner. That's a bit of bad luck. We can't help that, whatever. But the second one is like, because Bentancur hit his head against the ground last week and can't play, Bissouma is in that position and loses the ball because he does, he's under pressure, but also Bissouma, like I always say, does the hard things so well, but sometimes just the easy things and gives the ball away in too easy a place. So again, that is a situation, a goal that's been scored against us because we've been hamstrung by a bit of bad luck with the injuries, right?
Yeah, you've been quite kind. I think Bissouma's played enough games to realise. To be honest with you, I'm not convinced by him. He's not the player we signed for. He's not the player that was at Brighton at all. Sometimes he can be good. The funny thing I found with him is when we played Liverpool a couple of weeks ago, he got a yellow card after about 5 minutes, but he was very good. I thought he's going to get sent off. He was very, very good. It seemed to be strange. When something like that doesn't seem to happen, it doesn't seem to click within his head, and he ends up becoming like a bit of like a dog chasing a balloon at times. Yeah. And he's not a holding midfield player at all. We need somebody that's going to maraud that central area, just protect.
I thought Bergwall did pretty well at it second half, to be honest.
He was on his own, and you can't fault the kid with the enthusiasm and the endeavour that he showed. Absolutely. And when eventually these players come back, Archie Gray and him have got to play in the middle. It's as simple as that. No doubt in my mind about that. I'm not surprised about today's result. It's the top six away where we don't get the result. We showed big glimpses, all right. We huffed and puffed maybe a little bit.
I mean, sorry to interrupt, but to be fair with that, we've beaten Villa away 4-0 recently, and we beat Man City 4-0 away, and we won 3-0 away.
Yeah, I know, but
it's not quite as cut and dry as that.
What is it? 1 win and 32 at the Emirates.
Yeah, I mean, what I will agree with you is that we never ever win at the Emirates.
Stamford Bridge, never win there. Anfield, never win there. No. I mean, just going into that with. I just feel that at times we can get at them. The game opened up a lot in the first half in particular, and Bissouma for a period for about 5, 6, 7 minutes was dominating that. Partey and whoever, Declan Rice in there, he was really, really on top, and just go for it, just absolutely go for it. But we don't, and then he makes that mistake, and of course we just get hit, and then the goalkeeper could have saved it, I guess. Other things as well, common sense in the second half. Okay, play over the press. Solanke's up there to hold it up. We've got the pace of Son. You brought Johnson on, which is a positive move. Play over it, but we didn't. I mean, the amount of times we were caught with silly. I mean, he's done a Cruyff turn in the box, the goalkeeper. One of them. I did see one thing I did find funny. There was their fans jeering when our goalkeeper handballed it in the penalty area. Goalkeepers can handball it, can't they?
Listen, John, thanks for calling. Just before I let you go, just because I've got loads of people to talk to, Everton away at the weekend. Can we get our first win in a long time there, or is it going to be? No, is it going to be a Moyes masterclass?
No. We've got a bit of a hoodoo of Everton. I think they're crap. I think we'll beat them.
Aston Villa. Aston Villa went there tonight and only won 1-0. So are you that sure we're going to be able to cut open a Moyes deep block? I'm not.
They don't score though, so they'll just sit on. Well, the thing is, we've done it at home. Dice was the same thing, wasn't it? If we play like a 4-1 high and wide. Yeah, I think they're there for the taking, Everton. I'm not too concerned about them, to be fair. I think we'll win that.
John, thanks for being a part of the show today. Hopefully speak to you soon, mate. Appreciate it.
Okay, cheers.
Okay, guys. Next up, I'm going all the way to the USA and another regular, Simon. Simon, what did you think about that one, mate?
Man, it's tough. I had a really good feeling coming in. So I was really expecting us to get something out of that game. So really disappointing, man. Really disappointing. But I just want to, I know you got a lot of people to talk to, so I just want to make it real quick. I kind of want to respond to that comment, that super chat about why are we still backing, well, why some of us still
Yeah.
back Ange
Right.
is that, you know, especially coming from Conte and Mourinho. I mean, it's like this guy, he like he is proud of this club. He wants to bring success to this club. And whether I back him or not, it's it's really not anything in my control. Like when the club decides to let him go, they're gonna let him go. So in the meantime, if he's here, he's my manager. Same thing as with all these players. They're gonna have good games, they're gonna have bad games, but as long as they're here, as long as they represent the badge and they give it all out there, then like what am I gonna do? I'm gonna back them, I'm gonna cheer for them. Yeah, it's frustrating losing and stuff like that, but if I can see that they're out there giving their all, I think with the last game, one thing that I mentioned, it just our whole season, it just been a lack of consistency. There's been some good moments, there's been a lot of bad moments. So all I'm hoping right now is I'm just gonna keep backing my club. Hope that we get all of our good players back. Go on a good run and get some of that consistency. And other than that, all the other stuff, Anchin, Levy out, whatever. It's like it's nothing that we can control. It's completely out of our hands. I mean, so if you want to kind of like latch on to certain talking points, I mean, it doesn't get anywhere at all for me. So,
Well, mate, I appreciate the positivity, Simon. Can I just, before I let you go, can I ask you about Everton at the weekend? Obviously, away game. They've just changed their manager. They've lost 1-0 at home to Aston Villa tonight. Aston Villa are obviously a good team. What do you think?
I mean, I saw because their game was 30 minutes before our game, so I saw that first 30 minutes, and I mean, I think we should get something out of it because they're really toothless in the front. I mean, they didn't pose much threat at all, but in the back they're pretty nice and solid. So
we struggle
hopefully
against deep teams, though, don't we? We struggle against solid deep blocks.
Yeah, so that's if I'm always going to be positive, but it's just one of those teams that may give us trouble. But hey, we did beat them 4-0 at our ground, so hopefully we can get something similar.
Okay, top man, Simon. Really appreciate you being part of the show, and hopefully speak to you after a win at Everton.
Thanks, Barnaby. Have a great one, guys.
Cheers, mate. Let's get into the comments a little bit before I bring on the next caller. Richard Blakey, thank you so much for writing in. He says, I like Ange, but if we don't get 4 points from the next 2 Premier League games, he's got to go. So what is that? Everton away. I mean, is 3 points going to come in the next one? I don't know. It's really hard. We just somehow, in my opinion, need to get to February. We need to get to February, and then we need to get through to the next round, to the final, and to the fifth round in the FA Cup and the final of the Carabao Cup. It's very stressful at the moment. Dean Gibb asked an interesting question. When was the last time we bought a world-class player in their prime? The mentality has to change. Yeah, I said it on my video on my channel yesterday, actually, guys. I think Daniel Levy, for his own credibility, he needs to now find a way to buy us a player who is a surprise to the Spurs fan base, a kind of gift to his manager, kind of similar to when he bought Rafa van der Vaart for Harry Redknapp, someone in their prime, someone who can change things, someone who can get the fans off their seat, and someone who can change things on the pitch. I really do think, as much as I agree with the kind of buying young, exciting talent who can all grow together is great, and I think it's working with Bergvall and Gray, and I think Spence is starting to look good, and obviously Van der Ven is great, and I really like Kinski as well, even though a few of you in the comments are blaming him. But we also need to top that off with something great, really great. I don't know who that is. I don't know if it'll happen, but we need it. big time. Okay, next up, talking to another regular, and it's Liam. Liam,
Hi.
how are you doing, mate?
Okay, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, a little bit depressed, obviously, but let me know your thoughts on the 2-1 defeat at the Emirates.
Disappointing, upsetting, pretty terrible all round, to be honest. Apart from Spence, Bergvall and Gray, I think they're all pretty shocking. It was, like straight out from the blocks, yeah, we sat back. I mean, anyone blaming Ange, it's not like we literally played a complete different style of football tonight. It's not Ange that is the issue at this club. We, 23 years under Levy and Enoch, and, one trophy. We haven't won anything in 16 years. They are the issue. Anyone that wants Ange out, who do we bring back in? No one wants to work under Levy because of the way he is. Ange played a completely different style of football tonight, and it didn't work. But at least he changed it up. I mean, it's Basuma. I say it pretty much every time I'm on here. He's not good enough for me. He's too weak in the midfield. We need that player that can hold the ball in the midfield and dominate. That's what Bergvall done quite well, I think, tonight.
Yeah.
He held the ball up. He played it forward. A couple of mistakes here and there, but he's young. He's growing. And again, it was the younger players that were the best players on that pitch tonight. Solanke, I think, was, in my opinion, pretty non-existent. But then again, he didn't get any service up front. I just don't see how our fans, or some of our fans, can blame Ange and say it's all about the tactics when he did play different tactics tonight. It was just the players on the pitch didn't deliver that.
Yeah, can I just ask you about that comment you made about no manager wants to work for Daniel Levy? Is there really any evidence to suggest that? I'm not sure about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, when we went for Ange, what was he, like, third choice in the end? We went for, was it Tuchel? Tuchel said no. There was another manager that said no. I think there is quite, like Conte said, this is the mentality at Spurs. From the top, there isn't any ambition to win. And that's what I think Ange is trying to bring into the club when he came in. He said, I want to make this club a successful team. And if we want to be successful, I truly believe we need to stick with him.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And actually, I saw an interesting comment there from Genus, who said this: without Ange, we'd be in the bottom 3. We won't get relegated under him. We score too many goals. Listen, I have to say, the way we came 5th last year under Ange was absolutely phenomenal. And of course, a lot of it was down to that first 10 games where we won 8 and drew 2 and had no injuries. But really, it's not a huge surprise that losing the best player potentially in the history of our club, but certainly a goal scorer who made quarter chances into good chances, and us not being able to recreate that, it's been a very difficult. And I completely agree with you. I think we're kind of, well, I feel fortunate in a way that actually I just think there's nowhere for Levy to go other than stick with Ange. And as a result, I actually think that's our best chance of maybe winning something this year, is because we're going to have to stick with him. Otherwise, he would have sacked him by now, I'm sure.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I still do think we can win something this year. We're in Europa League still, the FA Cup. We're 1-0 up in the semi-final of the League Cup. I fully do believe we can, because that League Cup performance was the best performance I've seen us have all season. Yeah. Like, that was generally, we were amazing in that game, and I think that is the way we can play. But it's one of those things, because it's losing to Arsenal. It's just more upsetting, and it kind of makes it worse.
It's horrible. Liam, let me ask you a difficult hypothetical. If that corner that should have been a goal kick was given as a goal kick, do you think we would have got in till half time at 1-0 up and this could have been a different result?
I think that goal was coming. I think, maybe, but our heads did definitely drop. I think the goal was coming, but I think we could have held out till half time. But you could see immediately afterwards, it was like, because we knew we had been robbed. I mean, that referee was awful tonight. I think the heads dropped, and it kind of went to that kind of Spursy kind of thing we do quite often, where we go 1-0 up, our heads, we lose our heads a bit, we go a bit slack, and then we give away a goal.
Yeah, and just before I let you go, Liam, Everton at the weekend, are you as nervous as I am that we might be their first scalp under David Moyes?
I'm nervous going into every game. Like I said before we played Tamworth, I said I was nervous going into that.
And rightly so.
Yeah, going into any game of Spurs, it could literally be anything. They play so deep. I think there'll be a 0-0 draw. I hope we nick a 1-0, but I can't see there being any more goals in it than literally one goal.
Oh, I know. Thanks. Anyway, Liam, thanks for being part of the show today. I'll speak to you after that Everton game, I'm sure. Top man.
Thank you.
Grayson Peace disagrees and says we will beat Everton 3-0. Dean Gibbs says this: we were outplayed in the first half, shit ourselves, and couldn't have got any worse in the second half. So, you know, some strong feelings. There are definitely strong feelings in the comments today, and you wouldn't expect anything different, I suppose. Let's go over to another regular over in the Czech Republic. Steve, mate, what did you make of it? What did you make of it from where you were watching, mate?
Well, like everyone else, it's very depressing. Just to lose them anyway is always depressing. But I do feel we had a chance or chances, excuse me, in the game to actually get something out of it. I just thought we were very weak up front. We didn't really produce a lot. I thought the players that everyone's virtually named, the three were the best players we had on the field. No one's mentioned it, but Spence is outside of his right hand, his right foot, cross to Solanke, and so if it was anyone else defending him, I think he would have put it in. But as we've all mentioned, he's unfortunately extremely good defence they've got, and it just touched it off his toe. I'm just disappointed. I know in the second half we started to move forward, but we didn't really do a lot, and Johnson didn't do a lot. Again, I'm sorry, but I'm really disappointed with him. Richie was trying to do stuff. It just wouldn't gel. We just couldn't seem to get that final pass, and it all got a bit too intricate at the end. And
well, because Arsenal get so many bodies behind the ball that, you know, listen, I know I'll get stick for how negative I was about Arsenal and how boring they are and stuff, but I do really feel about them that you know, if the results don't come regularly and they don't go on a real run, then the fans will turn on Arteta because it's so one-dimensional. I find it is just all about the set pieces. But anyway, it's not about Arsenal. What about some positives going forward? I think it's Everton and Leicester next. Can we start a bit of a run?
Oh dear. Like you said yourself, I don't think it's going to be easy. They play the low block. Who's going to open them up? We should just nick it. I think it's not going to be easy.
He has to, for me, he has to play. Do you remember at the beginning of the season? So all last season, we were having troubles opening up low blocks at home and away. And then it looked like he'd sorted it at the beginning of the season when he started playing Maddison and Kulusevski together in the middle against teams who play a low block. And then after the second half performance today, where he did that as well with Bergvall, I would play them at Goodison Park, actually. And at least that way, there should be a bit of creativity in the middle of the pitch.
That's right. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Yeah, we need something like that. Definitely. I was.
TSOM just said this, and I agree with it. We miss Odebear massively. We didn't see much of him, but he offered us a profile that we just haven't had for either season with Big Ange.
That's right. Yeah, it's very extremely unfortunate we don't have him. I was hoping that Mikey Moore would get in the team and play today. Come on for Son. So I was disappointed because I know he's very, very young, but he's already had some play in the Europa League, and he did extremely well. And he might have turned them inside out a little bit. Someone they don't really know. Well, they know something about him, but you know what I mean. He's not a regular player, so he might have created some stuff for us. I thought the keeper was very unlucky with both goals.
I agree.
We know the corner shouldn't have been, but it was kind of bundled in, came off one of our defenders in the end. And the other strike, it bobbled just before his hand. He had it covered. I mean, you said yourself, you used to be a keeper. It can happen even on the first-class pitch, and it just bobbled over his hand. Otherwise, he had it covered. So.
Yeah, I agree. Really unlucky, and I think I actually think we would have lost by a lot more if we didn't have him because he was so assertive coming for stuff. Listen, Steve, thanks again for being part of the show. I will talk to you after the Everton game, I'm sure.
Barnaby.
Cheers, mate. Okay, straight in, we're going to go. I'm going to talk to Sean, who is also in the UK. Sean, thanks so much for giving us a call in. What did you make of the 2-1 defeat tonight?
Hi, Barnaby. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. There's a bit of feedback, though, so if you could turn the volume down somehow. I don't know.
Is that the telly in the background?
Yeah,
Sorry.
That was the telly, mate. You're all good now. How do you feel about that game?
Obviously gutted. I hate losing to them first and foremost, but I think on reflection of obviously quality at the moment, you can see obviously that they've got just that little bit more in abundance. In saying that, I still think there was times in the second half when the game was massively open. We're just crying out for someone to take the game by the scruff of the neck and just create that. I just don't feel we've got we've got that killer instinct at the moment where we can rely on someone to do that. Son at the moment, for me, I love him. He's a great ambassador to this club, but he's just not doing enough.
Agreed.
I think it's a waste of a position.
I mean, he got a goal, but I don't really feel. To be honest, I don't feel like him or Kulusevski really. They didn't keep the ball well enough. It was bouncing off them a bit too much for me. We really needed the senior players to keep the ball tonight back to goal.
It said it all. It says it all when every single person that's come on. The best three players for us were 18, 19-year-olds. That ain't a side that's obviously striving for big things. I get they're striving for the future and bringing in obviously quality of youth, but it's for me. There's got to be a buy soon of someone with a bit of experience that really knows how to manage games in their own performance. And when we just give the ball away too cheaply at times, and a side that we create a lot of our own undoing. We lose goals through individual errors. I've never known a side like it. Too many. It's far too many. So like you, I'm a little bit fearful going forward. I won't lie. At the moment, I'm usually very optimistic. I have constant arguments with my family. I sort of stick up for Spurs to the ends. But I'm looking at the weekend's game, like you say. David Moyes, new manager again. It's the new manager bounce. I know they lost tonight, but it's got to change for them at some point. And I just don't see at the moment how we're going to sort of cut teams open. We do miss that Odegaard massively. He come in at the right time, and he looked like he was going to be a big player that was able to do something different.
Yeah.
And outside of it, I'm not Daniel Levy's biggest fan, like a lot of fans out there. He's obviously very good at what he does with the financial side, but they've got to start making a few bigger buys and not keep relying on these 15 to 20 million gems that they're hoping for. Don't get me wrong, Kinksky, I love him. I think he's going to be great, and I'm glad he's come in because he's going to give that competition that I think Vicario fully needs. But I just wish they would say, like a lot of people have said, and you've said, we need to go out and really get a higher profile player to sort of make other teams sort of like sit back and look and think, oh wow, that's a good signing.
I agree, Sean. I do wonder whether Eze is still on our radar, but probably that we can't get him out of Palace this January, and maybe we'll wait till the summer.
Yeah, January is always hard. I get that. It's a frustrating month. It's everything's got to be done very early doors, but I'm sure they must have been looking at profiles, and they must have been looking at players. Like there's enough of them there to be doing their jobs to think that obviously they want to get someone in. Obviously there was this Kolo Muani that we've obviously missed out on now. I don't really know a hell of a lot about him, but from what people were saying, that he was a player that suited, that he could play along the front three. I just
so Juventus though, and why wouldn't you? They're in the Champions League, and
exactly that's the ball, isn't it? Really.
Yeah. Listen, Sean, really appreciate you calling in. Thanks for being a part of the show, and I'll speak to you maybe after the Everton game.
Thanks for having me. Cheers, Barnaby.
Top man, bye. Okay, we've got about 5 minutes left, so I'm going to talk to Gary. Gary, thanks for being so patient, mate. Tell me how you're feeling after that
very
almost inevitable 2-1 defeat at the Emirates.
Disappointing, Barnaby, wasn't it? I thought it was a poor game, to be honest with you. I think the North London derby recently, I remember going back, over the years, it was always sort of blood and guts and thunder. That just seems to have gone out of it. And once again, in my opinion, we're just overplaying at the back. I just don't get it. We're passing to players that have got 2 or 3 players around them, and we're just inviting the pressure, absolutely inviting it. It's so frustrating. I think one of your previous callers said, look, just play over the press. We've got to we can't keep playing like that. It's really...
Gary, I will just say, just because I know what you're saying, and a lot of people agree and stuff, but also you do remember, you do know there was a lot of times where we were playing long balls too, and they were just,
of course,
and Saliba and Gabriel just eating them up. So we had to try different things. And what I would say is, once he made the subs in the second half, there were far more occasions where we were keeping it in midfield and also doing some of those moves down the sides where Johnson would play a first-time ball around the corner. So there was a bit of positivity there as well, but I do also understand exactly what you're saying. There were too many balls into players who were being pressed by 3 or 4 Arsenal players.
Yeah, being very tightly marked. And I just think sometimes we've just got to, we've got to move, make more space rather than just sort of, it all seems to be condensed into the middle at times. And then when we go wide, we like Kaczynski will play the ball out wide and there's no one there. Instantly we're going back to him and then we're coming across the other way. And you saw it loads of times tonight where Archie Gray was sort of right on the left-hand side and he's passing it to Spence. Spencer's got 2 or 3 coming to him. So he's playing it back to Gray and all of a sudden he's blocked in. It's just, I mean, you look at the...
It's a huge lack of balance, isn't it, Gary, as well? Because Archie Gray's right-footed and Jed Spencer's right-footed, and they're both doing unbellevably well considering how little balance there is. But we all know that the moment we have Mickey van der Ven in that left centre-back spot, because he's so quick, he's really good at opening that pass out quickly with his left foot because he's got the balance of that. But also, if they block that off, then he's not afraid to drive narrow. And then you have Udogie outside him, who's also left-footed. So listen, we're suffering not just because of the players and their abilities, but also the balance, I think.
Yeah, I think one of the fundamental differences I noticed between the two teams was the playing out from the back. When they got the ball at the back, they were playing it around the back, and they just looked like they had all the time in the world. They made it look so easy, and I hate to say that, I really do. Yet when we got the ball at the back, it was almost like it became a bit of a hot potato. Very, very frustrating. I hate to lose to them. I hate to lose anyway, but to them in particular, it's just like, it's just fucking annoying.
Yeah, Gary, listen, I completely agree. And look, thanks so much for being part of the show tonight. Let's talk again, mate. Hopefully after a next a game soon. Hopefully Everton, where we actually managed to win one.
Yeah, hopefully we can be a bit more positive, Barnaby.
Top man. Thanks a lot, Gary.
No worries. Thanks a lot. Take care.
Bye-bye. Okay, guys, if you would like to appear on a future episode, please do email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. That's tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. It's very important to us that this channel gives everyone a voice, particularly from those all around the world. So from wherever you are from, please do get in touch. And just before I leave you, don't forget that there is more Tottenham content coming your way tonight. With Chris Cowlin bringing you the Spurs Chat podcast at 11 o'clock. He will be joined by Ricky Norwood, Craig Dearman, and Wes Reeves. But before I go, I'm just going to bring you a few of the people talking in the chat. Let's see what people are saying. Enrique says this: the Spurs players look weak, gutless, and clueless at times. And stays so he can get the club into a relegation battle just to see Levy crap himself. Not sure if I agree with that totally. Alex Farron says Bissouma is not a 6. Look at where he played for Brighton. That's true. He's an 8. He was an 8 at Brighton. That's absolutely true. And Angelo Tyro says every gaffer gets the same result. Blame Levy. A lot of people in the comments tonight blaming Daniel Levy. That has been the post-match reaction show, guys. Thank you so much for watching and calling in. Do subscribe to the channel, guys, at Chris Cowlin on YouTube. Also, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm getting close to 15,000 subscribers. It's at Barnaby Slater _ on YouTube. That's at Barnaby Slater _ That underscore is all important. So please do come and give me a subscribe there. And once again, as I said, the Spurs Chat podcast will be with you in about 5 minutes time on this channel. So just go and find the separate stream in the live section. And Chris is on with Ricky Norwood, Craig Dearman, and Wes Reeves. And listen, guys, I know it's been a difficult night. Another loss to the Arsenal. They've done the double loss over us this year, but listen, this year is going to be all about the cup competitions, and we're still in them. We need to start bouncing back against Everton away in the Premier League to get some momentum before we face Liverpool in that next second leg of the League Cup semi-final in the beginning of February. And also we've got a couple of Europa League games before then as well. So let's try and remain positive. I know it's difficult, guys, but most importantly, thanks again for watching, and come on, you Spurs.